a while.
Which Twitch server does he use?
uh, EU West or somewhere in Europe, because there's nothing closer.
I remember actually before you said that you couldn't, because I remember you streamed on YouTube for ages, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah. We
And then you,
we got a, what do you call it? Like a satellite server. There's a one of our ISPs, Cool Ideas. They set up like their own satellite server. Um, and you stream to that one, and then the satellite server is the one that sends it to Europe.
okay.
But it can still take fucking forever. Um, I've legit sat here for 5 minutes before waiting for
Wow.
Twitch to see the stream.
That's crazy. That's so weird that they just have no like local servers.
I think it's, I mean, if you live in South Africa, it sort of makes sense. The viewership, first and foremost, from South Africa is almost null and void. Like, it wouldn't even make a percentage of the entire viewership of Twitch, right? And also,
Hmm.
most people in South Africa, whenever they hear that you're a content creator, their first question is, well, how do you make money? You know, they want to know, what do you do for a living, like, not what do you do for a hobby, because it's not
Yeah.
considered a job here.
Really? Even though it's just self-employment essentially.
Yeah, but they don't, because they don't understand like the advertisement side of it, the fact that you effectively turn yourself into a giant billboard. They don't get that. So for them, it's nothing. It's not a job. It shouldn't be considered a job. Um, Even my dad still like doesn't really tell people what I do for a living.
You're just unemployed.
Yeah, he's just like, I legit heard him once say, "Oh, he just plays games for a living. That's it." Like,
Yeah, like my freaking like some of my girlfriend's family and stuff don't really get it, so they're like, "Oh yeah, like why doesn't Dan just tidy the house all day? You know, he's doing nothing." It's like, it's a no.
I mean, the truth of the matter is that very few people get that, even though, I mean, both you and I make video, like, we do play video games for a living. But if I compare the amount of video games I play now versus when I had a full time job, I play far less games now than when I had a full time job.
Oh yeah, yeah. As soon as I finish on Fridays, I don't go on the PC all weekend. Essentially,
Yeah, you don't. I mean, because it's a job now, right? Whenever I sit down at my PC, I'm like, all right, work time. Like, it's just, I get into this frame of mind of, this is work. Um, and yeah, most of my time, I think also a very big misconception from people who just, because I don't know if you ever get this. Do you get people who DM you and they're like, oh, I want to start streaming, or I want to start a YouTube channel. What would you suggest? Do you ever get that?
I have done in the past. Yeah, not so much recently. I get different kind of DMs these days. You know.
All right, yeah. I mean, there's some weird DMs, sure, but so whenever people do that, I always think to myself, there's so many people who think in their head, I just want to play games all day. You know, that's all I want to do. Not
Yeah.
realizing that the amount of setup and research and shit that goes into hitting the live button, like, it's not just, oh, let's start going live. There's a whole bunch of work that goes into it. YouTube videos, the same thing. I mean, you make almost a video a day sometimes. You know, it's not just the case of, oh, I'll just do a quick 10-minute video and then go play some video games. It's like a commitment for a couple of hours at least.
Yeah.
Um, Most people don't get the job. Now, I'm not complaining. I'm not like trying to suggest that content creators are similar to coal miners or something. Let's just be clear, right? But it is, you know, it is a full time job. It's an
It's
always
there.
on
You
job.
know, it pays the bills.
Yep, which is the great thing about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I want to ask you, what's your feelings about ESO? Like, how's that been going?
It's all right. It's I said so. I didn't realize that I played 20 hours of it before.
Oh
So I
yeah.
logged in. And I had like a level 23 character, and I have no memory of ever playing it. And I'm playing it now, and it feels so different to whenever like I don't know. I just don't ever remember playing a game like this.
So ESO went through incredible changes. When it first launched, it was a mess, right? That game, I don't think many people. So you often hear this, right? Final Fantasy gets praised for their ability to basically reset their game and just become a good game, right?
Yeah.
But ESO basically did the same thing. When ESO first launched, it was dog shit. It was horrible. The combat sucked. The gameplay sucked. It was just not a fun game. And they managed to fix it over time. Like, they took the slow and steady approach rather than like the Final Fantasy approach, where just blow up the fucking world and start over. They went the sort of slow and steady approach. You know, just over time, they made multiple fixes until they got it to where it is now. And now, I would say, it's a brilliant single player game. And you'll see as you keep playing. It's not an MMO. It's a single player game with some MMO aspects, right? Like PvP at the max level can be great, but there's nothing really. So I don't know. Do you know who Josh Strife is?
I do not know.
All right, so he's like this. You guys would call him middle class, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like he's basically Taliesin on steroids. Like, the dude always wears a suit. He speaks the Queen's English, so to speak. But he makes these MMO videos, and he talks about. We watched this last night on stream. He spoke about parasitic design in MMOs, and exactly what that means. Very interesting video. Definitely worth a watch. But I would say ESO is probably the best example of parasitic design done right. Every single expansion is its own thing.
Right.
Whenever a new
Just
expansion...
like WoW, then.
Well, yes, but actually, so here's the thing. When a new expansion comes out, at least when I played it, I haven't played in like a year and a half, almost 2 actually at this point. But when a new expansion comes out, you don't have to do any of the questing in any of the old world whatsoever.
Okay.
You go straight into the new zone and level through the new zone. So the old world effectively just becomes sort of useless. I think dungeons remain. Like, you can still do the dungeons from everywhere and stuff. But yeah, the new world is sort of now where you are. And I believe the lead developer said this in an interview. They designed the game to be every expansion is a new chapter, almost like it is a new game. So it's standalone, it does its own thing, and it exists in its own bubble. But I did want to ask you about, so just first and foremost, for those of you that's wondering, the reason we're not doing cams is neither myself or MrGM have 2 cameras set up. So if we want to do cams for stream, we can't do cams in Discord.
It's sad. I don't know why it's still like that. You know, it's 2021. Why can't they have cameras using different programs?
I can literally have my mic go to stream and also go to Discord at the same time. Why is that not the same for cameras?
Yeah, it's weird.
But I guess I wanted to ask you about WoW, and not to get into the bullshit, right? Let's keep, like, I don't know if you want. Do you want to talk about the lawsuit at all?
Not really. I mean, you can brush upon it, but you know.
I more want to talk about the state of the game, removing the lawsuit, just looking at the game right now. Because I see you've been dabbling in a lot of MMOs, like some serious MMO stuff. I mean, I've even watched you become a superhero, trying that out.
Yeah, the weird Marvel freaking mobile game. That was weird. Weirdest game. Never again.
I was literally watching you, and I could see the boredom on your face as you're like trying.
It had an autoplay mode. You literally just press it and it ran around for you and did the quest.
Oh my god, that's like so MMO, like so mobile, right? Like
it's ridiculous.
I don't know why mobile games have that. What's the point then of having a game? You could just release the movie, right, and then be done with it.
You could do a let's play and just let it autoplay and be like, yeah, I'm playing.
Yeah, you could actually. It's probably the perfect game to do a just chatting stream with, right?
Yeah, it just plays out.
Yeah, you and your chat both sit and watch the game as it plays out in front of you. But what's your thoughts on World of Warcraft right now? Because I think you have a very specific, unique view on this, since you come from a time where you basically only dabbled in old World of Warcraft. You were very big on Classic when that first launched. Where is retail in your mind?
So at the moment, I do log in every day. Spoilers. And literally all I do is I do my Corthia stuff because I just wanted to get like the 9.1 content done. So Corthia, get the Archivist Codex stuff completed, and the what's it called? The Death's Advance rep. I wanted to get those two done.
Yeah.
And then I raid on a Tuesday and Thursday. We do we're ahead of the curve guild, but we struggled a little bit on normal this time, so we're just on Sylvanas normal, but we got a couple down on heroic last night.
Okay.
Which was fun. It's I don't know, it's a fun group of people. Like that's really what makes it. Like it's not so much the game itself, it's like the people you play with, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really mind it that much, right? I don't think Shadowlands is as bad as some people say, and obviously that is just, an opinion-based thing. Some people say it's the absolute worst or whatever, but honestly, for me, like the biggest downside of Shadowlands is just how freaking long it's been, right? Like 9.0 was the longest patch ever. It sucked. Like it was fine at the start, and then you just do everything, and then you're like, all right, I'm done. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's not the worst. I think I had a worse time in BFA, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the fact that like some of the systems that are in the game are optional as well. Like the anima stuff, like upgrading all your sanctum shit is like all kind of mostly optional for the most part. Like it's not related to player power, if you were just going to raid.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I'm one of those people that believe that Shadowlands might be one of the worst expansions Blizzard have ever made. It's definitely not worse than BFA. Like anyone that fucking says it's worse than BFA can suck a dick. There's no way. BFA was absolutely horrid. Not from a lore perspective, which is the only thing that fucking saves WoW at this point for me. But from a gameplay perspective, I hated BFA. I'm actually one of the few people that hold a very controversial opinion about WoD, because I actually believe that both Shadowlands and BFA is worse than WoD, in my opinion, at least. Which I realized if you want, I can go into why. But just, off the cuff, I would prefer to go back to WoD rather than playing Shadowlands and BFA. I do want to ask you though, when you're when you say that, is the game still fun for you because of your guild, or is it?
Yeah.
So it is literally just your guild that's making it fun for you.
I don't know. I still, as I said, like when I do my dailies and stuff, I kind of play solo, but I don't do anything beyond that, really. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not like, I don't feel like it's a chore to log in, but I can't. The thing is with WoW, like I enjoy it so much that I want to play it all day, but there's just not enough stuff for me to do, and it's not that interesting to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I know
you just
exactly
want to
what
like,
you're talking about.
yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I played a lot of BC Classic. That was super fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a controversial statement, but I didn't really mind the boost that much. It actually made a lot of people that I never played with or were willing to play in BC to play BC, right? And it was a bit annoying during the pre-patch because obviously these people just boosted all the way up to max level or whatever. But yeah, with the actual game, for me, I mean, obviously, like, you can look into the different, like the reasons why the boosters are worse because of the bots and whatnot. But for me, like as someone who played fairly casual, did a bit of raiding, it didn't really affect my daily play that much.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just ignorant to the fact that there's all these bots running around at level 58 grinding gold and ruining the economy. But for me, I wouldn't log in. And the mount, I didn't give a shit about the mount. Like it's just annoying. Didn't need to happen, but it happened. But honestly, it's whatever. I guess. Who cares? Not me.
You see, so I think a lot of people make the mistake, especially since most content creators aren't what we would call, we don't have PR teams and producers that can sort of optimize the way you present something in like in the world, because a lot of people make the mistake. They bash on the mount, they bash on the boost without ever giving the context as to why they're bashing on it. So they're angry, but sometimes it feels like they themselves don't quite understand why they're angry about something. They're just upset. They're just frustrated. And I actually think the reason that frustration is happening isn't because of the boost or the mount, because you're right. In a bubble, the boost and the mount doesn't really matter, right? If we view it in an absolute bubble, there's no downsides really to the boost, because it just allows people to skip Classic if they didn't want to play Classic and get into TBC. So they still get to play TBC, right? The whole point of the fucking game is that. But I think it's the build-up. I think it's a slow build-up that's been happening over time, where people realize that their game is being monetized more and more heavily, right? Every 6 months, there's a new form of monetization. And I think the end result of this is effectively... I see a point where player power will straight up be purchasable from the cash shop.
Isn't it already purchasable?
Well, right now it's sort of roundabout way, right? You have to buy the token in order to buy the player power. So there's still a barrier there. But I do believe that in time, Mr. Kantik is going to push straight for the optimal amount of, let's just go straight high level, get monetization into everything here. Did you see that chart of the monthly active users and how it's been going down?
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
I mean, that's why. So just to give clarity for why I believe they're going to monetize more and more heavily, and why they're probably going to start building obstacles much like you get in mobile games. Obstacles that you can't overcome without spending at least a little bit of money or a lot of time in order to skip those obstacles. Imagine if we get to a point where Blizzard have like 15 million monthly active users. How do you make money at that point? Because it's no longer your subscriptions. I mean, they're not making enough money anymore. So at that point, it has to come from monetization, right? So I think
that's still making more money than they've ever made, though, aren't they? Right now.
Yeah, because I mean, if there's one thing we have to give Mr. Kotick, it is that the dude is a genius at monetizing games. Like he understands business. He understands how to get the last bit of money out of a player base that is already paying way too much for a game that just doesn't. I think that's my biggest issue as well with Shadowlands. It's one of the reasons I'm complaining about Shadowlands so much is, okay, so I did the math in one of the videos, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this. You paid effectively from 9.0 up until 9.1, $135 to play the game, right? Every monthly sub, 135.
Oh, no.
Did you get $135 worth of content in 9.1 is the question.
That's a really interesting thought, actually. I've not even thought about that. Because you have to buy the game as well, right? Is that what you included?
No, because I included that for 9.0. Because sort of, I just sort of figured, well, 9.0 included the game, the base game, plus the subscription. But I believe that, the $135, so I say the $40 took care of whatever went into the production for 9.0. Yeah. The subscription, you paying that for the next patch, right? Did you get your money's worth at $135, considering you could buy 2 other MMOs for that price or 2 other AAA games for that price, right?
You could probably go on a small holiday.
You could have one hell of a night at the pub. Drinks for everyone. So I think that's my problem. And that's the thing that I sort of sometimes think World of Warcraft. Oh, Apocalypse just set up a multi-Twitch TV for myself and you. So
Legend.
yeah, you guys can click on that if you want to.
I'll link it in mine because I'm such a generous guy.
Thank you,
So
Apocalypse.
just a random voice in the head.
So yeah, I guess for me it's just been annoying, right? But now my question to you would be, if you could change anything in World of Warcraft, what would you change?
Such a hard decision. I think the reason why I've been playing all these MMOs is just to get an idea of what other MMOs do, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See like interesting bits and pieces that they do. I don't know. That's a really tough one. I think it's one of those things where someone would say a suggestion, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of being able to like jump straight into the expansion, but then again, that's essentially the boost, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
But you get that.
Well, the Warcraft has already monetized that. You can't.
Yeah, they've already. Yeah,
you won't get that for free.
I think a better free-to-play experience would be my answer. You know, like kind of like Final Fantasy, kind of like basically fucking any game, right? Like at this point.
I actually agree with you. I see no reason why World of Warcraft cannot be free. That's actually such a good fucking point, dude. Why isn't it free to play right up until you get into the newest expansion?
Yeah.
Like, just give people the ability to play all of the old content free to play, and if they want to play the newest expansion, let them pay the subscription and buy the game.
Exactly.
I think it would lead to more people. Of course, maybe this exclude Shadowlands, BFA, and WoD from that experience, so you don't give people an idea of what your new expansions are like. That way, you incentivize them to buy and test out the new shit.
Yeah, you can just play TBC.
Yeah. I mean, the level 20 free to play experience is really a kick in the teeth, you know?
It's miserable. Yeah, it's crap.
It's like the game isn't built to be played at level 20. It's not even built to be fun at level 20. So
exactly.
Are you really incentivizing anyone to enjoy the game at level 20? So I had a very interesting idea. I don't know. Have you ever played Final Fantasy? I know you've.
No, I've not. No.
Let's not get into Final Fantasy
It
too
just
much.
It doesn't really interest me that much. I've seen people play it, and I'm not one to yuck someone else's yum. I'm sure it's really fun, but for me, it just doesn't tick the box for me. And maybe if I tried it, maybe it would, but I don't know. I've never played any other Final Fantasy game, and I know that's not really that relevant to the MMO, but still, it's just, I don't know. Like it's just something that doesn't interest me, and it's so funny that like everybody's playing it, right? Literally fucking everyone is like jumping on the bandwagon for it, and that's fine, whatever. Like everyone's open to try it, but yeah, for me, it's just, I don't know. I'm just not that interested in it, I'll be honest.
So I've never played a Final Fantasy game either. Like, just jumping into the Final Fantasy MMO was my first time ever, and so I didn't know what to expect, and I was told right from the get-go, the games do not follow on each other. It's like standalone games, right? So Final Fantasy never gonna get anything from Final Fantasy 7 and 14 or something like that, which is sort of weird to me, because that's a very unique way of making games in the first place, you know? Like, you have all of these numbers, but they don't mean anything. Like, you may as well just say Final Fantasy, this game, and, don't have to actually number them, so to
speak.
It
is weird that it has a number, actually, yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't follow. But I guess it also gives them the freedom to really dive into, whatever story they want without worrying about being bogged down in their story. To the point of Final Fantasy 14, I actually started playing it, and I like to pretend at least that I was first, because I started playing at least a month before everyone else jumped on the hype train for Final Fantasy, just because of chat. So my chat kept hounding me to play Final Fantasy. And I think
as soon as I said anything negative about WoW, this was like way before everything. soon as you say anything negative about WoW, or you're like, oh man, don't really feel like playing WoW, they'll be like, boom, ever played Final Fantasy? And it was kind of a meme, but it also, like, people were kind of serious about it for a long time, and now it's obviously blown up. But this was, yeah, probably like 6 months ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it started about 6 months ago for me, and I kept resisting it. That's actually perfect. It's about 6 months. I kept resisting it because I kept saying, look, I'm not a weeb. I'm not into this culture. I don't fucking I don't understand this culture. Catgirls do nothing for me other than annoy me. Because I keep seeing these weebs that watch their anime, and I don't see the appeal of anime. I don't see the appeal of manga or any bullshit like that. So this is not going to be my game. I just know it. And then I played it, and I fucking loathed the first 30 levels. You can ask my editor, Alex, because he was the one editing my first impressions. The first 30 levels is basically me complaining non-stop about the fucking game. Right? Everything's too slow. I run too fucking slow. Why do they speak so slow? Why do I have to read the book the whole fucking time? It's so effort. It's so much effort. And then the game changed. Like, just suddenly out of nowhere, it hits you. Your class starts to feel a little bit more complete. The story starts to make sense, and you get to go on this incredible journey with the game. And that's when I realized, fuck. I think I've just discovered a new MMO. And now...
That good.
Sorry?
That good.
Oh, yeah. MrGM, if you've not played it, you can't watch it. The game being watched doesn't give the right... Because I watch streams of people playing it, and I kept telling my chat, guys, I don't like that. It looks crap. The gameplay looks crap. There's so many lights on the fucking screen. There's no way that you can follow anything because the bosses are just like Christmas trees. I was just not into it. And then I started playing it, and I realized I think I'm addicted now. I mean, I reached level 50, and I haven't gone any further because I'm just leveling new jobs because I'm having fun with the job system now. The game has so much, and I would go so far as to say, I believe that Final Fantasy is the only true MMO right now on the market, to my mind at least.
Wow, it's a pretty bold statement. You know, this is the other thing, I never see anything negative about it. That's the weirdest part. Never.
You've never seen
never seen anyone be negative about it. At least on Twitter, unless they get, hounded or whatever. But I never see anyone like saying anything bad about it. I don't know if it's just. I mean, I don't know why it is. Maybe and that's why I come look at it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, is there literally nothing wrong with this game? Like, that's just the craziest thing.
I mean, I will say, this is why I say it is the most complete and the best MMO right now on the market. It is a real theme park MMO. Everything that they design, every expansion adds to the game. Nothing ever gets removed. When they add a system, they add it so that it can last forever, right? So even at max level, you can go back and do that system, right?
Right.
The progression feels like you're progressing. The classes, the jobs at least, feel great when you play it. I saw someone in your chat asking, do I like it for the story or the actual gameplay? I would say up until level 45, I liked it only for the story.
How long does it take to get to 45? You know what? I don't even know what the max level is. Are people even max level? Like, Asmongold seems to go into these expansions and stuff. Is he just not max level?
Level 80 is the max level, but...
You're the first person to ever say that. I've never, ever heard anyone talk about the max level of the game.
The thing is, even when you're
Is it because everyone's leveling?
Well, there are tons of people that is max level, and they're basically, playing the game at hardcore. The difference is just... So the reason Asmongold and those people are taking so long to get to the next expansion, so this is how the game is built. You start your leveling experience. You have to finish the MSQ before you can ever move on, right? So you cannot just, unless you buy the skip, which would be very stupid because you'll not understand anything about the game if you don't buy this. If you buy the skip, but so you have to do all of the MSQ. Then, now imagine this: you get to end of vanilla World of Warcraft. Now you have to do all of the quests for patch 1.1, patch 1.2, patch 1.3.
Yeah, we were trying to make an analogy with that, and and I think that was what kind of we came to.
Yeah. You have to finish everything that they had in the game at the time when that was the max level. You have to finish all of that, including all of the raids, because the MSQ introduces you to all of the raids and all of the max level dungeons and stuff. Now, the reason Asmongold and them are having so much fun in it is they're actually going into those raids and turning off Echo and taking minimum item level. So this means you are experiencing that raid as people did 10 years ago, literally at the same difficulty.
So time walking.
Yeah, well, better than time walking, I would say, because time walking in World of Warcraft is a little bit broken. Just the classes are no longer similar to what the raids were designed for. So basically, most bosses turn into stomps. You're just basically stomping through it because you have too many AoE abilities. Too many people can put out way too much DPS. So it's like time walking, just... I think you can also do it at extreme difficulty, which then makes it like almost think of AQ 40 mythic difficulty, right? So that's why they're taking so long, because the game genuinely just opens up at level 50. Suddenly you realize there's this world in front of you and it wants to be explored. It wants to be played, and you have to be the one to open it up like an oyster, if you will, right? So I would say that's one of the reasons I put Final Fantasy as the best MMO right now on the market. It's obviously not for everyone, and I do think that it's sort of weird to me, the amount of people that sort of, defend Final Fantasy and bash WoW, or defend WoW and bash Final Fantasy, because at the end of the day, it's like, not all games are meant for all people. That's why Steam is so popular, because I can play something that I love and you can play something else. I'm pretty sure if you and I compared our Steam libraries right now, it would not be the same.
No.
We would not have the same games on there.
It's interesting. So I guess this is the thing I was trying to wrap my head around, right? Because I don't really know too much about it, but if WoW were to make it so you had to play through all the expansions to get onto the end game and stuff, people would lose their minds. So what is the difference in the way that Final Fantasy do it against WoW? Let's say WoW implemented a thing where if you want to do Shadowlands, you have to do all the Shadowlands, and you have to do 9.1, and then let's say 9.2 or whatever in the future, right? So people would lose their fucking minds and start, going nuts. So what is the difference with that? Is it just the way that they tell stories, or what?
I think, first and foremost, the way their quests are designed, you are taken on a journey, right? If World of Warcraft stories were like Final Fantasy stories, and I don't mean like World of Warcraft has to change their stories. I think in terms of pure lore versus lore, World of Warcraft is better. Like, just from a world-building perspective, the WoW world is far more interesting than the Final Fantasy world. But it's how the Final Fantasy world takes you on that journey, right? How you are part of that world. You are... The difference is, you're not just a peasant sort of running around and people pretend that you're the hero. You are the hero. That's it. You are the hero in that game, and everything happens because you make it happen. Now, I think the biggest thing, though, for me is classes. I think that's where people would lose their minds, because most people don't mind the first time they level through Shadowlands, right? When you level through the Shadowlands the first time, did you enjoy it?
Wait, that's terrible.
I thought it was good, yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel about the second time?
Do you think Final Fantasy dungeons and raids are easy?
Well, that's why they implemented Threads of Fate, right? But that sucked
there are
as
not
well.
a lot of
Yeah, I mean, the Threads of
checks,
Fate, we spoke
but
about
if
this
there is
yesterday
no
on stream.
DPS
The
checks,
Threads of
some
Fate
players
is
only
absolutely
need to do
miserable.
mechanics. Does that make it less
It's just,
challenging?
it's
For
missed,
example,
right? It's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
They should have done more. But, so in Final Fantasy, you never have to start a new class. Once you've started your first character, every job is available to you on that one character. So you never have to go back and say, okay, I have to level, like, I want to go warrior now, so I have to start from level 1 again. So it's a one and done experience. You do it once and you're done forever. From there, you just pick whatever job you want and you go level that one up and start doing things with it. I think that's the difference between WoW and Final Fantasy, and then the story. It's sort of the only thing I can think of, because you are right. If we made a full-blown WoW leveling experience where you had to go through Vanilla, TBC, Wrath, Cataclysm, Mists of Pandaria, Warlords of Draenor, if you had to do all of that, people would go, the fuck am I going through all of that shit? That is a long experience. So yeah, I don't know. It's a very hard thing. But I came up with an idea yesterday, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this. How would you feel if World of Warcraft fucked off specs?
And just had classes?
Just had classes. All of the spells and stuff that your different specs have is now built into a single class around a gameplay loop where all of those abilities is part of your rotation. So, let's imagine a warrior, because I know you play warrior. Your arms abilities would be built to build rage. Then once you reach a specific rage, you would change your stance into fury so that you can now expend that rage, right? So you go through these sort of moments of gameplay where, 30 seconds you're in arm spec, 30 seconds you're in fury spec, and you learn how to balance around that. How would you feel about that?
I mean, that sounds like a classic when you switch between different Berserker stance and battle stance, stuff like that. I think... Wow, the chat do not like that.
No, most chat.
I don't know.
My chat doesn't like it either.
It's an interesting idea, and I don't think I would trust Blizzard to do it. And I think just having too many abilities might be a bit overwhelming, potentially. And there's different. I guess the other thing you got to think of is like different classes have different resources, or different specs. Sorry, have different resources.
Mm-hmm.
So then it just gets a bit messy. So I don't know. I think it'd be too much. You'd have to thin it down a shitload if you wanted it to work.
You see, the problem for me is, and this is what most people don't realize, the reason World of Warcraft is the unbalanced mess that it is right now is because it has 36 classes in the game. This is a game that's being designed for 36 different classes.
Yeah.
There's no way you're balancing that. Like, literally, it will never be balanced, because any encounter that you build would need to be playable on all 36 of those. Any system you build into the game would need to work for 36 classes. And before people go, wait, there's not 36 classes. Every spec right now in World of Warcraft is treated as its own class, right? Where it used to be, for anyone that fucking forgot, it used to be that you were a warrior or a warlock and you simply specialized in certain things over others.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, you are no longer a warrior or a warlock. You're an arms warrior or a fury warrior or a protection warrior. You're not just a warrior, right? You are basically a different class depending on the spec that you choose. I don't see how you balance that.
Does it have to be balanced? Like, perfect?
I don't
you
think
balance it perfectly?
I don't think it's about having, but then Blizzard needs to commit to that. If Blizzard doesn't want to balance perfectly, they need to decide, okay, we're no longer going to try. Because I think right now the thing that holds World of Warcraft back is Blizzard's sort of incessant drive to balance the game, Like, they seem to go overboard with this whole, let's balance it. And then you get these 50% fucking nerfs on items like a week after the patch launch. And people are fucked because they farmed this thing now. Because Blizzard is trying to balance the whole game. But then Blizzard needs to buy into that idea, right? Then they need to know there's going to be dead specs every patch where the spec's just dead, right? And no one's going to play that spec because they couldn't figure out how to balance that spec. is that a better idea? Is that something that people would be on to? Because I think people would be fucking crying foul. I know how Warlocks felt in Warlords of Draenor when halfway through the expansion, Blizzard just came and said, Demonology's dead and we're not fixing it. People were fucking livid.
I guess it comes down to, like, that's really just asking, do people prefer the way that, you know, vanilla Wrath and TBC worked against, you know, Cataclysm onwards when they did have the specialization stuff?
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. I kind of like the talent trees. I like the way that you can kind of customize and be a hybrid spec if you really wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's essentially what it is, right? Like, you just get a few abilities from the talent tree, but you also have, like, you know, class-wide abilities and stuff. So I do like that. I don't think the problem with it is it's a great system, but it could have never continued. Like, that's why they changed it, right? Like, imagine if we still had the Wrath talent trees, but they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger every expansion. It would be like freaking PoE, right? It would just be it'd be a mess.
But then again, would PoE be such a bad thing in WoW if you just had like 500 fucking talents eventually that you could sort of play into? I think some people would love that. I get what you're saying though. That would be like balancing. That would be a fucking nightmare, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, sure, that system could not continue. But I do believe that all Blizzard could do with that is take some of the talents. Like, there were some useless talents back in like vanilla, right? You had like talents that would increase your haste by 5% at 5 points, right? Those things could eventually just be baked into the class, right? So basically what I would have done if I was Blizzard is I would have done sort of active pruning at like every second expansion. So every second expansion you go through the talent tree and you say, right, we're going to remove a bunch of talents. Some of them we're going to move baseline. Some of them we're just removing. And then we're adding a bunch of new talents to this class, right? I think I don't accept. I accept the premise that system wasn't workable. I do not accept the premise that the new system was the only way forward.
Yeah.
Because
I think they could have adjusted it and evolved it into something else, but I don't know. I feel like with Blizzard, they're not really that open to changing stuff, right? They're not open to like experimenting with things like that. I think what they should do, I mean, what would be really cool is if they had an extra realm that was literally for experimentation, right? They had like, all right, on this, you know, they'd be like, oh, today on this realm we're trying out, you know, something different with talents. Like, let us know what you think, give us some feedback and stuff. And if it doesn't work, then they don't put it in the game. But if it does work, they put it in the game, right? And I feel like they probably have a million ideas. Like, you see it in data mining all the time for different things, and they never put them out or give them to anyone to look at. It's only internal, you know? I know
you've covered things that sort of makes it onto the BTR in the files, but it sort of dies there. Like, it just, you know, it never goes past the files. I actually love that idea that you just came up with. So my idea for this was Classic Plus.
Yeah.
Back when Classic just launched, I said, what if Blizzard treated Classic Plus as their testing ground for gameplay systems? So let's imagine Blizzard wanted to try and do player housing. Nothing would hurt them to put player housing into Classic Plus, iterating and reiterating on the idea until they have it perfectly in Classic Plus, right? And then porting it to the retail version. Because it's now working in Classic Plus. You've tested it on a Plus server where you bring out new raids, new bosses, new dungeons, new PvP stuff. So you basically turn Classic into its own game. It's like RuneScape, right? You're basically doing it like RuneScape. You're turning Classic into RuneScape. But there you can test out whatever you want. But I love the idea of having a dedicated, always-on PTR server. So where every week, this is just like a bunch of fucking changes, right? Warrior now ranged, you know? And you have this ranged warrior that throws these fucking axes around. And they're just testing it, right? They don't know if it's ever going to go live, but they are just giving it a go, seeing how people enjoy it. And if people do, then, hey, we'll figure out how to build this into the game. You know? I
mean, selfishly from a YouTuber point of view, right? Like, it's a lot of video content you got right there. You'd be like, right, this week you got this. And I think for them as well, as like a feedback loop, that'd be perfect, right? Let's say, I don't know, let's say Preach started covering WoW again, right? Huge YouTuber. let's say they put out, you know, a new feature on the PTR just for, you know, people to experiment with. He puts the video out, and then Blizzard can look at the feedback on his video, the comments, general consensus, his thoughts on it as well, and be like, right, this is the community feedback on it. Now, I'm not saying the whole community watches Preach, but I'm saying, like, if collectively, you know, people on social media, people on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that tried it all out, and then you'd have like a massive amount of feedback there, not just from the forums, because that's pretty much all they look at essentially. I mean, that's what I assume anyway. They just look at the forums. But yeah, I think having especially weekly content, or not even weekly, but just like whenever they kind of feel like, you know, trying something else out, you know, it's great. But I would love to do videos like that. That'd be fun. Like, oh yeah, you know, this is something they're trying out and it's something weird and wonderful, and then just kind of going over the system.
Yeah, so just on the point about not everyone watches Preach, not everyone has to, right? If you have 200,000 people playing World of Warcraft watching Preach, if the majority of them are 100% on board with something, you can literally look at it as polls, right? Political polls. You don't need the full, like the entire civilization or society to vote in the polls to know what the society is probably going to vote as. You just need a sample size that isn't biased. And you can look at Preach, Balula, and you, because I don't really do gameplay videos. You know, I just do lore stuff, so I probably wouldn't count on those. But if they just took your content, say Balula and Preach, from that you could extrapolate a sample size that you would know the majority of players are going to like this, or no, they're not going to. But that, of course, leads into a fundamental problem for Blizzard Entertainment. They refuse to listen to their content creators or feedback, for that fucking matter. How many times we've had it now for 2 expansions in a row where content creators warned about certain systems in the game. The game goes live with those systems do not work, and we wait until the 0.3 patch to finally get the system fixed, right? When they finally decide, okay, we'll do what the players said in the first place, and then everyone enjoys the game, and we go into the new expansion, just the whole mess starts again.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of Legion, right? Like, Legion, everyone's like, oh, Legion was really good, but really, it was only really good until 7.3.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
until they actually added stuff like the legendary vendor and,
yeah,
you know, kind of ditched off a lot of the artifact stuff. Just, they made changes that were kind of wanted from the beginning. And it always feels like they're on the back foot of development, you know? Like, one example I can give from BFA is, like, with Island Expeditions, we were like, oh, man, like, during beta and alpha, we were like, oh, we'd love a vendor for this. Be amazing, you know, because the way that you got loot and transmog from it was absolutely dog shit, because it was random.
Yep.
And then I think they added the vendor in 8.2, I think, or 8.15, like something like that. It was just annoying. Like, why couldn't they just add it when people were like, oh man, a vendor would be perfect, like that would make this so much better? It's just weird.
It's the constant thing of and this is where actually I do believe that I'll bring the lawsuit in a little bit, right? Little bit here. The rockstar mentality at Blizzard Entertainment is what's keeping them from actually making a good game. You see, they live in a world where they believe they can make no mistakes. They believe that whenever something happens, it's not their fault. So I'll give you an example of something that I was told by a developer, right? And nothing against this developer. They're a great person. But this is sort of the internal feel at Blizzard. Do you want to know what they blamed the failure for BFA on? Like, internally, what Blizzard blamed the failure for BFA on?
I have no idea. What is it?
The political landscape at the time of BFA's release. So, because of Brexit and because of Trump, that's why BFA failed. Now,
I don't believe that.
According to a developer that I spoke to, that's literally what he said.
Really?
Yeah. Not the only reason. They do believe there's other reasons as well, but they think that's a big reason for it.
Yeah, man. I was really upset about Jaina because of those levers.
So at the end of the day, it's like the rockstar mentality exists, and it doesn't allow for them to see the truth of what is happening around them, right? They don't seem to realize that, hey, we can actually make mistakes. We can actually fuck up. I mean, these dudes run around thinking it's okay to grab goals in places they're not so fucking supposed to grab goals, right? So clearly they think that they can do just about anything and nothing's ever going to go wrong. Which means, why would you then listen to the plebs that play the game? I mean, anyone in my chat, anyone in your chat, what do they know? They're not the rock stars here, right?
Yeah. I think it's also harsh to assume that everyone at Blizzard is, harassing people there.
Oh, no, I don't think it's everyone. No, it's definitely a small group. I've said this before. Everyone that's sort of going, oh my God, Blizzard is a cesspool. It's like, no. Blizzard as a whole, I think 99% of the people that work for Blizzard is absolutely fine human beings that know that you don't just touch people that don't want to be touched, you know?
Right.
It's like 1%, but imagine how much shit one guy can cause. If you have one bad guy in an office, how much trouble can that one guy cause for so many fucking people? It's 8 hours in a workday. There's a lot of ass that can be grabbed in 8 hours, right? From just one guy in two hands. So... And it seems like Afriziobi was at least putting in 6 hours a day, making sure that he got his quotas done, right?
But the problem, it trickles down, right? So, like, one guy does it, but then, like, other people either ignore it or don't do anything about it, right? That's when the problems arise. You know, if it happens and then there's, consequences to it, then yeah, that's fine. But if, it's, taken under the rug or whatever, brushed under the rug...
It's a perfect storm.
Then it's a fucking problem.
It's the perfect storm, right? Blizzard's HR failed incredibly at controlling the developers and actually protecting the company, which is what most people don't seem to realize. The reason you have an HR department, yes, it is to protect the company, but it's to protect the company exactly against shit like this. HR protects the employees so that the employees don't cause a stink for the company. That's why you have a human resources department. So if you have claims of sexual misconduct, HR should act on it so that those employees don't go to the fucking press. And now Mr. Kotick is sort of, I don't know if that dude is sleeping right now, because would you? If you were...
I mean, it's probably pretty comfy in the yacht, to be fair. I'm sure the beds are... Canadian goose.
So you imagine that dude is not losing any fucking sleep over the bullshit that's happening right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, like, he could retire tomorrow, right? And it's not a problem for him. I don't know what kind of guy he is. I mean, a lot of people assume that he's just a bit of a dick. I have no idea. Do you think he's a dick? Do you think he's an asshole?
From what I've heard, so I know about 5 developers very well that work for Blizzard in town, like to the point where I've spoken to them on Discord, like in private. We've had calls and we've discussed things, and probably about 15 or 20 that I've discussed things with in DM before. And what I've spoken to some of them that have had personal contact with Mr. Kotick, he's an extremely nice guy. Like, he genuinely is one of those guys that walks into a place and he tells the employees, hey, if you have a problem, come to me. Let's figure it out. He's a genuine nice guy, according to everyone that I've spoken to. The players, of course, look at him and think this is Satan.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, I mean, the players do think this is Satan, but according to the people that I've spoken to, they don't mind him. But then again, it's I don't think as a person he's a bad guy. I think if you spoke to that guy in real life, he'd probably be, at least from what I've heard, he's actually quite funny. He's got a brilliant sense of humor. He cares. He's not really a dickhead to people. But it's about focus and perspective, right? It's about what is the importance of your life. And for this dude, it's money. It doesn't matter whether the players are having good experience. It matters, like, all they measure the game's success by is money. How much money is this game making for us? Now, I think that's a fine idea for short-term success. I think it's a horrible idea for long-term success. Because I think in the long term, you can only make that much money before you run out of players to make money out of. And I think that's why the player base hate him so much, because it's clear that our experience doesn't matter to him at all.
Yeah.
He just doesn't give a fuck.
What do you think of the new Blizzard CEOs or the co-leaders?
Fuck, dude. I wish I could say that I'm filled with hope, but it depends on how tight is the vice around their balls, right? Like, how much freedom does the president of Blizzard even have? Can he go to Bobby Kotick and say, listen here, we'll design 100 mobile games a year. We'll bring out a new Overwatch every single year. We'll basically turn Overwatch into Call of Duty if that's what you want. Now, don't even get me started on Overwatch 2, because that's it. I don't know why there's an Overwatch 2 to begin with, but
yeah, it was weird.
I mean, Overwatch 2 is Overwatch 1 with story mode. You could have just fucking added story mode to Overwatch 1 and done, right? You have your story mode. But okay, so we will release every year a new call of Overwatch. Every year we'll do 100 mobile games. Just leave World of Warcraft alone. We can't rush it. MMOs cannot be rushed. If you rush an MMO, you end up with shit. Yep. At least in my mind.
No, it's true.
Can he go to Kotick and say that? Will Kotick listen to him? Or will Kotick be like, get out of my office now? Give me money, bitch.
I mean, that's the thing. As I said, like, we don't know the inner workings of the company. My only experience in like a corporate environment, I worked in McLaren for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a company with loads of different departments, completely separate from each other. Like we'd have like, so I was in automotive, but they also have like Formula One. They also have electronics department. They also have applied technologies department, a load of other things. And I never met any of those people, which is crazy because this is something I said before. Like I don't know how Blizzard works. I don't know if everyone knows everyone. But as I said, there were people in different departments that could have done horrendous things.
Yeah.
Right? And I never knew about it. But then if someone says, oh, yeah, there's like, this guy in McLaren who's a creep, it's like you kind of get brushed with the same thing, right? I never met the CEO of McLaren ever. I saw him. Yeah. He was about, but I never saw him and I never spoke to him. So I have no... And even my bosses and my boss's bosses never spoke to him. He was very, like, inner circle sort of thing, right? Yeah. You'd only have a few people who would speak to him. So I don't know. Again, that's my only experience in that sort of environment. I don't know if it's the same for everywhere, especially in game development where it seems like a bit more... what's the word I'm looking for? I guess... I don't know. It seems way more chill, I guess. Like, the way that they did McLaren was very much... it was like a military operation. It was very... Yeah. Very formal, very straightforward, It's
corporate, right? My brother works for a startup here that's sort of exploded over time. They do data analysis, and even now, their company size is at the point where my brother is sort of the training CEO of the company, and he never meets with the interns whatsoever. Like, he doesn't even know half the interns that work for them, just because he doesn't have time. Like, where's he going to find time to go talk to a bunch of random interns, right? But that's the problem. In McLaren, this is how it should work, right? You have massive company, millions of fucking people, and you selling the car don't need to know what new technologies they're trying to figure out to put in the car, right? That's got nothing to do with you. You don't know how to do that. I can only give you what I've been told, and I would ask people to take this with a grain of salt, because at the time of me hearing this, the developers that I was talking to was very angry. So a lot of this could be influenced by anger. Some of it could be true. I can only tell you what I've been told. But from what I've heard, if you work, say, for example, in the story department for Blizzard Entertainment, it is completely believable and even realistic to believe that you have almost no interaction with anyone else in the company. The departments are completely split. The only people that ever communicate are the heads of the departments. So head of story will go to head of system, will go to head of combat, and they'll have a meeting together. And then they'll go back to their teams and they'll sort of tell their teams what to do, right?
Right.
But they don't really interact with one another. So according to some of the people that I've spoken to, that's very high up in like the story department, they had no idea that these things were happening in some of the other departments. Like the stuff that happened in the Frisiabi's department, they never even heard it. Like they never even heard that these things were going on because they had no interaction with the Frisiabi's apartment. Like, and he's also in story, you know? But he's in a different department, in the story department, and they don't mix. And I actually think that is why the game is so bad.
You think, yeah, and I think obviously this is the other thing, like obviously they had to go remote, which just makes everything way worse, you know, especially for something creative. I feel like when you're being creative, that you can have small interactions like in the corridor or like at the water cooler or just like in the canteen or whatever, just like walk up to someone and be like, yo, you know, let's talk about this. Whereas when you're working from home and you're working remote, everything has to be planned. You know, you have to be right. We're going to jump into Discord at this time. We're going to do this at this time. Like there's no like spontaneous creativity. And obviously, I think that hurt the game a lot, especially So I presume 9.1 was probably made remote the entire thing.
Yeah,
or at least a lot of it.
Actually, all of it was done remote. There were at times some people from some departments went into, at least from what I've heard, went to campus, but this was only for like highly specialized things. Like they needed to all be there for like a week. You know, to get something done. For the rest of it, it was all done from home.
Okay. What do you think of the story?
For Shadowlands?
Yeah.
Oof. I'll before I get into that fucking rant, I just would like to say the reason I think these things don't work and why you can't take McLaren, like the experience that you had at McLaren, and put it into a game. Gaming is all about creativity, right? It's about feeding off one another. So you want to be able to work with people that isn't in your department, because sometimes, let's say you have a cool idea for a story, maybe you talk to some of the people that work in systems, and you say, yeah, we want to do the story, and the person from systems goes, wait, what if we tried to do it this way and this way? And suddenly you have this brilliant idea, right, for something that could work. And if you don't have that, there's no cross-pollination between the departments. It's just the fucking stuffy heads that go, what's going to make the most money? Let's do that. Yeah. As for the story, fuck. All right. So as a speculator, brilliant, because the story makes sense to no one. Which means if they want to know anything, they have to click on my videos. The sad part is I don't have a fucking clue. So I used to know, so I could explain. Now I also don't know. So I said I'm no longer a speculator for World of Warcraft. I'm now a storyteller. I tell stories that happen in World of Warcraft, and Blizzard probably never going to use them. They're just stories. Yeah, it's a mess.
I saw on Reddit, apparently we still don't know who broke the Arbiter.
No.
I thought it was Denathrius.
So, there was one line in Castle Nathria where Prince Renethal says they failed, or they were undone by the betrayal of Denathrius, and the Arbiter's fall also came at the hands of Denathrius. So, this is paraphrasing, but Renethal claims that it was Denathrius that brought her down. It's never been confirmed in the game whatsoever. It's on those stone... Is it Stone Generals or Stone Legion? What's that fucking boss called?
Stone Legion Generals, yeah.
Stone Legion Generals, that's the one. Sorry, I don't raid, guys, so I have no idea. I don't even have a guild anymore. But Stone Legion Generals, they have these voice lines, and in that they basically... like Denathrius claimed, or Renethal claims that it's Denathrius that took them down.
Okay, interesting.
But I mean, how long? We're now in this we're now in this expansion for more than a year, and the very thing that started this expansion, or the catalyst for it, we still have no idea what that catalyst even is. So, some people in my chat have been making the joke. Blizzard creates mystery by simply not telling us anything. That's how they do mystery at the moment in World of Warcraft. If we don't tell them, how would they know? And that's it. I mean, did you see the Pyromancer meltdown on this?
Oh, yeah.
I think every person saw the meltdown. And it was... Oof.
He had some good points.
He did. I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of good points. I did not necessarily... I said this in stream just after it happened. I did not agree with him attacking the player base or the content creators. That I didn't necessarily agree with, because I don't think any of us deserve that. But I also understand probably the frustration that he must be experiencing at the hands of chat. I mean, you've probably had this before as well, where people in chat are just like, there's just this one person that's being an absolute dickhead in chat, and you can't help yourself. You just lose your fucking mind. Because I believe you and him already sort of made up by that point, didn't you?
No, it was the next day.
Right. I still don't actually know what happened there, so I don't really give a shit, just to be clear.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
It was a whole thing.
Isn't it always?
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking creator drama, dude. So, here's my question to you. After playing the amount of MMOs that you've been playing, and of course, barring the autoplay feature from Marvel that you probably undoubtedly would love to see in World of Warcraft because it's such a cool feature.
Yeah. It's so amazing.
Can you just imagine? You log in, go autoplay, and when you come back, your characters finish the raid.
It's fucking wild.
You've got like a bunch of new gear. What would you say is something that you've seen in other MMOs that you would like to see in WoW?
Oh, good question. So what have I played? So I'm obviously playing ESO at the moment. Star Wars I played. The Star Wars. Have you ever played Star Wars: The Old Republic?
I wanted to ask you about that next because I've never had the opportunity to play Star Wars. No.
It's cool. There's definitely some issues, but they've got like a massive update coming in. When is it? Holiday this year, so towards the end of the year.
Okay.
And that should fix a lot of the problems. But yeah, anyway, they actually have. I mean, obviously you can do this through WoW and an add-on, but they have a way to customize the UI completely just from the actual game. It's actually sick.
Wow. Is it?
Yeah, it's
good. Is it as good as
right.
the add-ons that we have, or?
Yeah, I mean, it does all the stuff that, like, it's basically move anything essentially, but yeah, you can kind of make it however you like. And it's kind of funny actually. One of the default ones that you can select is called retro, and it's just the WoW UI. Like, they know what's up. They know what's going on. But what else is it? It's like, it's in like I do like the idea of being able to like queue into anything, at any time and still get XP from it. That was the thing in Star Wars actually, where I was. Like if I wanted to do like a flashpoint, which is like their version of dungeons, I could just jump in with anybody and it would just scale down and they would get rewards and I would get rewards as well. Yeah. I guess you kind of have that in WoW with what do they call it? What's the thing called when you group up with a low level player and they
party sync?
Party sync.
Yeah.
You have that, but it's not so like fluid. Party sync's not that fluid in regards to like, you can't be like, oh man, I just want to queue for Wrath dungeons on your own. And then go help out some people doing Wrath dungeons, but also get loot from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know what could help WoW at this point. That's the problem.
But that feature is exactly in Final Fantasy because there's level sync in the game, right? So any fight that you want to join, fights is like their version of world quests almost.
Right.
Like they're persistent and they're through the whole world. Like every zone has its own fight system where it's like kill a bunch of mobs and it's boring. It's like, it's fucking world quests. But they have level sync across the board. You click one button and you level sync. Then all dungeons are scaled. All dungeons are scalable, but they also have a really cool feature in that So if you sign up for a dungeon just normally, your level will sink down to what level that was. But you also lose abilities. So you also only get the abilities that was available to your class at that level. So it's very weird to play like a really low level dungeon. Because you're so used to now having a full rotation, and suddenly your rotation goes back to 2 buttons because you only have 2 spells now that's available to you. But so you have that system in Final Fantasy as well. And then you have also the ability to go into the settings and actually just basically put it in stomp mode. So you can say, no, I don't want to be level synced. I just want to stomp these mobs, right? So I want to go there in my level and just fucking destroy everything. The UI is also completely movable in Final Fantasy. You don't have add-ons again, but you can change the UI to whichever you want. So
it doesn't have any add-ons, does it?
No, add-ons is actually very much discouraged and disallowed. So it technically, having a DPS meter is against TOS. So they allow it for personal use. They sort of pretend like, it doesn't matter. But also they don't really have a way to figure it out because all the add-ons work client-side. They don't work server-side. They don't communicate with the server at all. So the way they do it is if you were to link your DPS meters in chat to sort of tell a player that they were bad or they need to pick it up, that's almost insta-ban. You'll get banned from the game.
Wow.
So they're pretty fucking
instantly
serious.
Banned.
Yeah,
well, they have like a load of stuff that makes it so you can't harass people or anything like that, right? There's like a load of good things
oh my god,
in
yes.
regards to that. Yeah.
So they
That's
get
cool.
the GMs and CMs in that game take a hell of a lot of time and effort they put a lot of time and effort into ensuring that the community remains how do you put it? Civil towards one another. So if you start bashing players, a suspension is usually quick, like within 24 hours, you get suspended. And what's really nice, I reported one person in the game, and I actually got an email from them saying that the person received a suspension. So they actually let you know that they acted against whatever you reported.
Interesting.
In WoW, you're lucky if you get a fucking reply to your ticket sometimes.
Yeah, that is. Do you reckon that is why everyone's so like not what's the word I'm looking for? Not really negative about it online because it's just not being able to be bred in game.
I think so. Yes. So, I actually I liken it to. Have you ever heard of the broken window theory?
No.
So this is something that is used in police departments quite specifically, but they call it the broken window theory. And the idea behind it is, so maybe you let go criminals who vandalize a building, right? So someone puts some graffiti on a building, you let that slide. Someone breaks a couple of windows, you let that slide. Now, those crimes will turn into bigger crimes. So the idea is if you let the small things go, the bigger things will start to fester. So the criminals will just evolve and they'll start doing more and more things of a criminal nature. That's the broken window theory. Now, it's obviously been applied horrendously because it's also one of the reasons they say marijuana is bad and why people should get fucking 10 years in prison for having weed on their person. And we both know that's bullshit, right? That's not like it's you're not gonna go from smoking weed to robbing a fucking bank, right? Because when you're high, you don't have the effort. Like it's too much effort to leave your house to go rob a bank. You might think it, you're not gonna do it. But so the broken window theory is what I think happened in World of Warcraft. Slowly over time, Activision Blizzard started making cuts in CMs and GMs, right? So you had fewer CMs and GMs. Now you have a couple of CMs and GMs having to try and deal with a player base of a couple of million people. How's that viable? How's that doable? I mean, outside of Josh, when's the last time you've actually even seen a CM?
I mean, there's like a Discord for EU people that we have a CM in, but they kind of lost all their CMs, didn't they? So
yeah. I mean,
But
I
other
used
than
to be
that,
part
yeah.
of the African version, but the African version got cut.
right.
So, yeah, and then we were moved over to the London version, but I was basically dropped from that, I suppose. So I'm now allowed to speak as freely as I want without any repercussions because I'm no longer a preferred creator, I suppose. To be fair, I wouldn't make me a preferred creator either. So there's just no way. And what's happened over time is I believe that people... So toxicity breeds toxicity, right? If I do a dungeon with you and you're being an absolute dickbag, that frustrates me. So I go into the next dungeon, I'm now a dickbag because I'm frustrated with how you treated me in the first one. So it's sort of a perpetual thing that just eventually turns into a mess. And now we're sort of seeing it also spill into Twitter. I don't know if you have experienced a lot of hate, but I see the content creators that is just being smashed from both sides by pure toxicity on social media.
Yeah, I've seen some hate recently. I couldn't imagine why though. But we don't need to get into that.
I mean, it's always going to be there, but I feel like it's heightened. Do you think I'm wrong?
Oh yeah, people are on edge. Yeah,
I feel like
people are angry and frustrated.
Yeah, I just don't know yet. Is this the explosion or is this the build-up? Like,
I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Can it get it? Can it get much worse than what we are right now, though?
No, unless they do something like. Imagine if Blizzard put out like a fucking storm out now.
Oh my god.
See, it can get worse.
Oh, someone on my this is tasteless, I realize, but you have to understand it's my Discord. It's a bunch of degenerate fucks. But someone on my Discord put out a meme where they basically said there's a new store mount that's being added, and it's literally called the Cube Crawler for 25 euros. And it just says to help the victims of Blizzard. And whilst yes, it is tasteless, you know, you sort of had this feeling like this could fucking happen. They could fucking do this.
I saw that on Reddit.
I mean, they're gonna do. I don't know if it was made by them or if they just posted it on Discord, but I saw it in my Discord.
Right.
And I just thought to myself, that's what they do. That is what they fucking do, right? Every single time they give to charity, it's not them that gives to charity. They put out a fucking pet, and then they say 50% of this pet will go to charity. And it's like, motherfucker, you're giving to charity? Give 100% to charity, for the love of fuck. Why are you keeping 50% of this? Like, that's just, I don't know what the hell is going on with Blizzard. Everything is monetized. Even charity is no longer charity. It's like, first our profits and then charity. And I think, I think the player base is getting sick and tired of it. I think your community seems to be fairly chilled, though.
Yeah, it depends. I don't know. It depends on the thing, right? I don't know. I'm just exhausted from it all. It's just fucking all the negativity and stuff. It just gets so annoying, you know?
Yeah. But I do think it comes from the top. I think when you're... So, for those that don't know, I live in South Africa, which is, I think, the perfect example of what happened at Blizzard over time. So my government is next level corrupt, right? We're talking amounts of corruption that most of you in the first world don't even know about. My last president built himself a house worth $25 million US, where the swimming pool was justified. Like him having a swimming pool was justified because it's actually not a swimming pool. It's actually a firefighting mechanism. right? So
God.
if there's a fire, they can use the water from the swimming pool to put out the fire. That's the level, and the state paid for it. So taxpayers paid for this fucking mansion that he built himself. And my police department is just absolutely corrupt, right? So the police in South Africa, there's nothing you can't get away with by just giving them a couple of bucks, right? $20 will get you out of every single fine, every single thing that can happen to you. Actually, one of my friends actually got caught driving drunk, and he got out of it by giving the officer a Coke and 2 cigarettes.
Jesus.
The officer said, okay, you can fuck off. Thanks for the cigarettes and the Coke. So that's, and my country is a place where corruption is extremely high, both in the private sector and in the public sector. People, like, the speed limit is more like a recommendation rather than a law. Red lights is literally just, you may slow down or you may speed up. It's really up to personal preference there. And all of it starts at the top. When the people at the top have zero ethics and zero morality, you can't expect the people at the bottom, the society, to have any, because if they can get away with it, why can't I? Right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem that we have in World of Warcraft, because WoW is very much like a country, at least from a societal community perspective. It's like a country. When the rules are not being enforced, why would the people follow the rules? So
makes sense.
It's never gonna go anywhere else. You know, it's just gonna get worse. Because I don't know if they know why things are getting as bad as they are. I don't think they know.
You think they're just oblivious to it?
I think they blame it on other things. I think genuinely they think it's other things that's causing these issues. I think they sort of, they want to pretend like this is not their fault.
Right.
And again, it goes back to what I would suggest the rockstar theory is, right? They view themselves as rock stars, so how can they make any mistakes? It must be everyone else's fault. I don't know if that can be fixed. I wanted to ask you actually at the beginning, and I completely forgot. How's your girlfriend doing? Because I know she's got COVID.
She's all right. She's downstairs. She's made like a little camp out of the sofa cushions. I've been just camped out in here in the office because I don't have it. I did a test this morning and it was negative.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting out. I'm just in here, and then eventually she'll get better, hopefully. But she's vaccinated and stuff, so it's not been too bad. She's just had like a bit of a runny nose and a sore throat. But yeah, so not too bad. She'll be all right. She'll bounce back. She's young enough.
Yeah, I had it as well. It was 2 days of absolute hell, and then it was good. It was good to fucking go again. What's
the vaccine situation over there?
I genuinely don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know where I would go to get a vaccine.
Wow.
There was this sort of thing that they kept fucking updating us on things, but they would spam me with like 10 messages a day, so I blocked that fucking number. The last thing I need is like I'm sleeping, and then I get like 10 messages coming through of just all this shit about COVID, and I was like, no, fuck that. You're not spamming me with this bullshit. So I genuinely don't know. I know that the last time I checked, we had like 2 million people out of a country of 60 million people vaccinated. And they lost, there was 20 million vaccines that they lost because they couldn't keep them cold. I'd say it's a mess, but I genuinely have no idea. I genuinely don't know.
I remember last time we spoke, you were looking to go to Ireland or something, weren't you?
Yeah, that would be...
Ireland or America?
America would be preference, right? I would love to live in America. But getting to America, that's a whole different fucking ball game. Ireland, on the other hand, is pretty easy for South Africans. Because all I need to do is just get on a plane. I don't even need a visa. And if I can find work there, I'm good to go. So all I need to go is I just need to walk there and go, excuse me, I don't actually want to work. I've got a job. Can I just sort of chill here? You know, just get a house and sort of live here for a bit. And hopefully they say yes, so then we're good to go. But now with the whole
Interesting.
COVID thing, most countries
Well,
have
it's a
completely blocked
nightmare,
us.
isn't
It's like South Africa isn't allowed to get in. Well, I think the UK specifically have said that no one is allowed to travel here. And also no one from here is allowed to move there. So yeah, I don't know. I genuinely, the COVID thing is a mess. We've been in lockdown literally from the beginning. So we've never left lockdown. I don't know. Genuinely, I don't really watch the news, I think. That should be said. I've no
Probably
idea.
good for you.
I don't know what happens in the world. Like, things happen, and sometimes my stream will go, hey, did you hear about this? And most of the time, I sort of faintly saw a headline on something, but I don't really follow it, so I don't have a fucking clue. How's things there? You guys are pretty much good to go, right?
Yeah, we're I think 75% of the population's vaccinated. Travel is a bit of a shitter still, so I want to go away. I want to go to like Greece or something like that in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But that's not happening. Well, probably won't happen. Depends on all of that. But yeah, I'm vaccinated, and then yeah, I think everyone 18 plus has been offered it, and then allegedly we're sending them out to other countries now as well. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, there's no restrictions anymore. Like literally nothing. Like everything's just, you know, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. You don't have to social distance. I mean, people still do. Like I see a
Yeah.
lot of people wearing masks. I still wear a mask, you know,
Yeah.
because you know, you may as well. But yeah, for the most part, it's essentially locally back to normal.
I mean,
Pretty much.
I wear the mask in stores because it's mandated. You must wear it in stores still, and you're technically supposed to wear it outside as well. But considering that there's never been a single case of someone that caught COVID outside, since the virus gets destroyed almost immediately by sunlight, and also
Yeah.
it needs an enclosed space to actually infect people, because it's actually not easy to get it. You need to be in a closed system where it can build up in the air so that you can breathe it in. I do sort of, what do you call it? I have these little ways of rebelling against the system. So as soon as I leave a store, I remove my fucking mask and I walk to the car. Just to kind of go, you know, fuck you.
Yeah.
Because I hate these masks. I despise the mask. It is so fucking stupid, dude. I hate it. My beard gets in the way, and it gets in the way of
Oh,
my
I can
beard.
imagine. Yeah, I can imagine with the long beard, it's absolutely fucking horrendous.
Yeah, it sucks. So, you know, but I get it. And I respect people's ability to protect themselves, so that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
South Africa we're probably, like the rest of the world will go straight into, you know, new world, no more COVID, and then South Africa, like a decade from now, South Africa will announce to the world we finally beat COVID. You know, after we've like built like the most extreme variants of this fucking disease. If you want to know where the zombie version of this thing fucking starts, that's South Africa. In about 5 years, this virus will turn people into zombies.
I've seen District 9. I know how it goes with the aliens. You seen that film?
Yeah, it's a pretty good film.
So good, so good.
It's one of the few South Africa made that actually reached the world, you know?
It's actually a South African made film.
I think the director is American, or the director is South African, but he lives in America, and he's sort of a Hollywood director, I think. And so it had an American budget, because it's definitely not South African budget. South African budgets are, the aliens would have been like a rubber mask if it was a South African like budget film. So yeah, I mean, I did see it. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
But what I liked more was the political message behind it, because it was a very political film. Especially if you, like, for people who didn't know, they probably wouldn't have understood the politics of the film. But it was literally a movie made by, you know, set in the apartheid era of South Africa. I don't know. Did you ever notice that? Did you know that that's what the movie was about?
Wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, wasn't there an area called District 8 or something like that?
Yeah, District 8 was one of the largest townships in South Africa at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
aliens...
I'm not well versed in South African history, but yeah, I know, like, yeah,
Or
the odd
District
bits and
6, sorry,
pieces.
not District 8, it's District
Right.
6. Yeah, no one's well versed in South Africa. Not even South Africans are well versed in South Africa.
Right.
Yeah, we don't really give a fuck. So, what MMO are you most excited for?
So, I played New World, like yourself. It was fun. I really enjoyed it, and obviously it's been delayed now, so I hope they make some changes that I really want to see. Although they didn't say what they're doing, which is a bit annoying. I think there should have been a bit more, yeah, we're delaying it because, XYZ. I know obviously they said it was bugs and whatnot, but I hope they do add some stuff to it. So New World at the moment, currently, very exciting. I did dip into Ashes of Creation on the Alpha 1, and it was fun. It was all right, but like it's very early. Like it's crazy early, like scarily early, honestly. Like we're years and years away from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think right now New World. Beyond that, I mean, the Star Wars update I'm looking forward to at the end of this year. That should be fun.
Okay.
And that's basically it. I mean, isn't there a Final Fantasy expansion at the end of this year as well? So it's only going to get more popular?
Yes, Endwalker is, I
Right.
think, September. Or no, is it September or November? One of those.
It's very soon.
So Endwalker is, it's November, yeah. Endwalker is coming. I'm very excited for that. I probably won't be at Endwalker when it launches because I level very fucking slowly. But, it's nice to know there's more to do. What about Palia? Have you ever checked anything?
Yeah, I know. I signed up for it. Yeah, I signed up for the alpha or the creator program for it. I thought it looked cool. It's kind of funny though. I really dislike player housing in a game, and I don't know. I just find it kind of boring. But when I tweeted that once, people thought it was an attack on Final Fantasy, when in reality it was actually an attack on the general system, right? And it was the reason I said it is because it was in New World, and I was like, "What's the point? Like, I don't really get it."
Yeah.
But a lot of the argument there was just like, "Oh yeah, you've never played a game with good player housing." So, and I know Palia has that
Yeah.
a lot, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I played a bit of Animal Crossing. Is that basically the same?
I have no idea. I've never played Animal Crossing.
It was a fun game.
So I have no
Silly.
idea. But it's like a friendship MMO. At least that's how they're sort of marketing it, right? It's this sort of overcome everything with friendship.
Yeah.
Which is very Final Fantasy style. You barely ever kill anyone in Final Fantasy. It's just you beat them into forgiveness, right? They
I'll get out.
and they just apologize after you've beaten them. So that's sort of I'm so New World, just to sort of lock that in because I know you've been very excited for New World. Did you not find the limitation to mob different kinds of mobs, the variations of mobs to be?
God, yeah, it annoyed me. It was so like the low fantasy part of it, and this is why I kind of like ESO here, because it's basically New World, but a bit more, dragons and whatnot.
Yes.
The low fantasy aspect of New World is probably the worst part. The fact that there's nothing mythological, essentially. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. That's what they're going with. But I don't know if it even works in an MMO or a game like that, Like, just having zombies is kind of shit. And then you've just got, like bears and animals and stuff. And then that's basically it, right? That's your variety of creatures and whatnot. Maybe they're saving it for later on, but yeah. I think maybe just because coming from WoW, there's just so much variety in regards to the mobs and stuff. But yeah, literally, New World was some zombie pirates, some normal pirates, some bears and wolves, and that was basically it.
You see, my thing with New World is the combat system is really cool, right? It's got its problems, don't get me wrong, but it's a really cool combat system. But it would have been cooler if you actually ran into a fucking area and you had variations of mobs. The problem is you fight two mobs and you realize what their exact rotation is, and then it's sort of a pre-plan, right? I'm going to hit him once, then I have to block because he's going to hit me twice, then I'm going to hit him 3 times, and then I'm going to block because he's going to hit me twice. And you just do that over and over again, where I feel like if you wanted to go for a Dark Soul-esque kind of combat style, which is very much what they did, you need to put some challenges in there.
Yeah.
You need to make me dodge things, and you need to make me block things, and so, I mean, the game looks beautiful. Just to put that out there, that game, I can get lost in that game. It's so fucking gorgeous. I love the gathering. I love the crafting, but that's about it. Outside of the gathering and the crafting, I've not found anything that really grips me in that game.
Yeah, no, the crafting, because it was like obviously beta, right? So I just didn't want to get too into it. Oh, the lack of story as well. Yes, someone in my chat, Chan, mentions lack of story. That annoyed me. This, like as I said, like this is so funny with ESO because the reason I'm playing ESO is because there was a NXIVM video where he talked about their new expansion, which came out in June, I think. What's it called? Is it Blackwood?
Yeah, I think so.
And NXIVM did a video on that, which was such a great video. I definitely recommend it. But I watched it and I was like, crap, this game is like basically, like New World is basically ESO, like essentially, but ESO has a bit more story to it. You know, ESO has voice acted quests and all that kind of stuff. Like I've been playing an hour or so before we jumped in the call, and I was loving it, like really into it. And I can really see myself getting lost in this world. I've never played an Elder Scrolls game, funnily enough. Never ever. So maybe I'll lose out on some little references here and there, but
I would say they do a pretty good, because I tried Skyrim like probably 100 times and I could never get past the first 20 minutes of it. So I'm not a Skyrim, I'm not an Elder Scrolls fan.
I made a character in Skyrim and I think that was basically it. And then I did the bit, what is it? You're on like a cart. Is it Skyrim the one where you're like not maybe getting killed at the beginning and then a dragon rocks up? Is that Skyrim?
Yeah. They want to chop off your head.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I played a little bit then. Yeah, I played a smidge, but not a lot. Yeah. I wanted to get it on Switch actually because I wanted a new game on my Switch because it's on everything. It's on Alexa. It's on billboards. You know, you can play it in a puddle. It's
I mean, that game has had so many remakes and re-releases. It's unreal. That's
awesome. It's great. So much longevity.
Yeah, basically same game over and over again, and of course every single version you need a bunch of mods in order to make it work because every version has the same bugs. They've just basically given up on bug fixing, but that's Bethesda for you. I would say ESO. I mean, just looking at that game, how old is this game? And it still looks gorgeous. It feels really good. I would say ESO it's a fantastic game, especially. Wait until you start feeling the incredible bloat that this game has. Like, they went the opposite way of WoW. WoW really worried about the, like, crazy damage and shit. They just bought into it. They just said, okay, wait, you're going to be fucking overpowered, and we don't care. You'll eventually do billions of damage, and it's fine. It's okay.
When did they update this, like, skill stuff? Because I remember when I played it before, I swear I never had stuff like that.
What skills?
Like being able to being able to level up my weapons and stuff like that. Was that always in there? I just don't remember it.
Yeah. That was always so it doesn't have a class system. It has the same as New World, exactly, the weapon system. But I also feel like their weapon system, this is where New World fails, because there's far more that you can do in ESO with your weapon compared to what you can do in New World. Right? You can effectively build a very unique class around a singular weapon in ESO. You can't really do that in New World. New World just feels like a watered down version of ESO. Like, better graphics, but same in almost every other way.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I'm interested to get into it. I think I'll play a lot. I don't know. I kind of like it. As I said, because I played Star Wars, and there was some bits and pieces I didn't really like about Star Wars. Mainly just graphical stuff and UI. Like the UI was kind of messy on Star Wars. I think one thing that actually I really like about ESO, and maybe this is just the boomer gamer in me, I love the fact that you can play on controller. Oh my god, I'm gonna at night, because I have an Apple TV, right? So I can stream my Steam to my Apple TV. So if I'm playing on the PC, I could be like, oh man, I'm gonna go play it, in the bedroom now, and then I can just play it on the remote. And apparently it plays quite well on controller as well, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, they've optimized the game in such a way that it works just about everywhere. I personally, I hate controllers. Like, I have a controller, and I refuse to use it. Like any game that has controller support, and especially if it doesn't have keyboard and mouse support, I won't buy it. I hate controllers. It just feels weird holding it. But I guess it's also because I never grew up with console.
Yeah.
I had a PlayStation 1, but I also had a PC, so I just happened to play everything on PC. Plus, I think you and I play very different games. Like, what's your games outside of MMOs?
Platformers. I'll play like Crash Bandicoot or like I don't know. I don't really play a bunch of games outside of WoW, to be honest. Like when I'm not playing WoW, I just go outside normally. But no, I'll play like on the Switch, right? So for me, I feel like as a PC gamer, the Switch is like the ultimate like console to have alongside it, right? Because there's such like weird and wonderful games on there.
Yeah.
Like recently, I've been playing Pokemon Unite, which is the Pokemon Dota game, or the Pokemon MOBA, sorry.
Okay.
It's really weird. It's free as well, which is kind of fun.
Okay.
Which is also coming to mobile, which in turn means it's coming to
PC.
Which in turn means it's coming to PC, yeah, because it'll be on BlueStacks or whatever. But it's a really good game. It's, as I said, it's free. It is pay to win though. Goodness gracious, it is terribly pay to win. But you can still play it for free and still have a good time.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, like I don't know, just like weird games. I normally go back to games as well, you know, like old games that I used to play.
Yeah.
Whatnot. Have you seen, actually someone mentioned in my chat, the Steam Deck? You seen that?
I wanted to ask you about that, actually. I was watching...
Coolest thing.
Yeah, I was watching Linus Tech Tips. Did you see Linus's breakdown of it?
I saw like a couple of videos of people talk about it. I don't think it was specifically Linus, though. Although I should have probably gone to Linus because he's the GOAT when it comes to that stuff.
So if you have a screen, like an external screen, you have your mouse, you have your keyboard, it turns into a mini PC. Like legit, you can play it on it. You can play any game on your fucking PC screen with your mouse and your keyboard, and it will just work. It's
wild.
That is like that thing's gonna kill the Nintendo Switch. Because it's
not remote play though, is it? It actually has tech inside it, right?
Yeah. No, it's quite powerful. It's actually
you could put Windows on it.
Yeah, I think they've done Linux, so it's a Linux based system.
It's like Steam OS, isn't it?
Yeah, that they've built on it, but it is a full blown PC. You can watch movies on it. You can do pretty much whatever the fuck you want with it. I'm not a handheld guy, right? I've never had I've never had a Switch. I've never had any handhelds outside of the Tamagotchi. I don't know if you remember.
Nice. Yeah.
I had a Tamagotchi, and I remember my mom had to look after my Tamagotchi while I go to school, and she should feed him because he shouldn't die. So I had that, but that's the only handheld I ever had.
You never have a Game Boy?
Never. They weren't in South Africa when I was growing up.
Oh,
you have to remember, I live in a country that we only just got fire very recently, so things are.
It's great though, isn't it? Really good. Should start thinking about making some wheels.
We'll get there. So for us, like I never grew up with those things, but I looked at the Steam Deck and I was like, "Fuck, I need to get this. This looks like a really cool thing to have."
They're not like massively expensive as well. Like you'd imagine there would have been a lot. Well, when I saw the price, I was like, okay, I actually thought it'd be a lot more. This is my prediction though. I reckon the next 5 years, Steam are going to bring out a console that's going to run Steam. Or Valve bring out a console that runs Steam.
Weren't they sort of playing around with the idea a couple of years ago? Like there was sort of rumors flying around of this new Steam console that they wanted to bring out, and then it sort of failed miserably. I think it didn't live up to the hype. But my thinking about this is, if Steam really put in the effort, right? Because KFC's got a console now as well, doesn't it?
KFC?
Yeah, I think KFC has a console too. Like they're working on a console to like the console can actually hold chicken. Someone in my chat is saying they gave up on it. They decided no, we'll just stick with making fucking chicken. But I think they were sort of working on it. But no, I think Steam is one of those unsung heroes in the tech industry. they're sort of working. The people think of them as only a gaming company, but people don't seem to realize that the majority of their tech goes into research for, things like the Steam Deck. But you want to know what I'm most excited for from Steam?
What's that?
AR.
Half-Life. Oh, AR. I thought you say Half-Life 3.
I mean, I am still holding out hope. I'm one of the few people that still believe that at some point, Gabe will bless us with fucking Half-Life 3. But so I was watching this interview that they were having with Gabe, and they were sort of talking about VR and why is it that they're so hyped? Because every game that Steam almost releases now, or Valve releases, is always a VR game.
Yeah.
And he said the reason they're doing that is not because they think VR is the future. In fact, VR is not anywhere near the future. It's because of AR. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? And he said they're about a decade away from true AR gaming. Now,
just turn your bedroom into like a Lara Croft game. Is that what it is?
I mean, AR, so VR is you put the goggles on and you watch the screens, sort of you're in it, but you're not really in it. AR is where you go into the game in your mind. So basically a Matrix level of... So it's augmented reality. In other words,
love that.
You are physically in it. They're working on that. Like almost all of their money is pumped into AR. And he sort of explained it's far easier than people think it is. The one thing that they're having trouble with at the moment is sort of emulating cold. Like he used cold as to explain this is the stuff that they're having the biggest problem with right now in AR. Because apparently cold doesn't just happen with signals in the brain. Your immune system is involved as well. In order to feel cold, your immune system activates as well. And they're not yet sure how to code that. Right? So they can't code that yet. But can you fucking imagine playing World of Warcraft in AR?
Terrifying.
Why terrifying?
You go through Searing Gorge, you'd be like, damn, who needs heating when I could just run up to this lava?
But imagine fighting like a big ass boss in your mind. Like you're literally there. You're fighting this boss. You can smell it. You can feel it. You can feel the wind blowing.
Yeah.
I mean, that would just be like, oh my
That'd be
fuck.
wild.
It would be just insane.
I don't think it'll probably happen in our lifetime unless something terrible happens.
I want to ask you a question that I've asked my chat multiple times. Would you want to live forever?
Pretty deep question. Depends on the quality of life, right? That's like, that's what you got to think. It's quality of life. So, like, if you are like super old, and your just life sucks and you're in pain all the time or whatever, like, and it's just you can't remember things and whatnot, then what kind of life is that? But then again, you get into an even deeper conversation like what's after life, like it's a whole thing. So I don't know, maybe, probably. So as long as it's as long as I'm still having fun.
Yeah, I was watching this documentary where there's basically Jeff Bezos has just sunk like I think 500 million I think into it just last year, and he's pledged a couple of billion to the project over the course of its lifespan. You have Elon Musk that's pledged like billions to the project. There's like 3 massive labs that's working on eternal life, right? All 3 of these labs say that any person that was born after 1985, this will be the last the generation that was born just before 1985 will be the last generation to experience death on Earth. That's how certain they
85.
are. Sorry?
85 or 95?
1985.
Oh, good. All right, cool. We're good.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I just make it. But so they basically they believe that they're very close. They think that within the next decade, they're going to have the ability to reverse aging and then also the ability to actually make us live forever. So
sick.
the question
Unless
is,
it was like a pandemic or something. You know, imagine that.
I mean, I think diseases will probably get far worse once we live forever, but I'm all for it. I think life is amazing. I don't want to die.
Yeah. No.
I
too much fun. I've got to play ESO, dude. I got levels to get. I can't be dying.
Can you imagine the games 1,000 years from now? Can you imagine what games we're gonna get?
Someone just said they would. If you live forever, you might finally get through your Steam backlog. True.
That's never fucking happening. I think this is a world problem. I think this is a gamer problem. I think 80% of my Steam library have never even been installed yet.
No. I got loads through the Humble Bundle.
Oh, I remember when Humble Bundle was an actual thing, like a proper thing.
Yeah, they used to be really good. But yeah, I got a bunch through that. I bet there is people out there that 100% every game that they get, but not this guy. No, I have so many games on there that I couldn't even tell you half of them.
Yep. I usually buy games and I think to myself, I don't want to play this right now, but I might play this next week or the week after, and then that game will just forever be on the Steam. Like I won't even look at the game again. It's just there. It's gonna be there forever. Maybe one day when I'm really bored, I'll give it a go.
Love that.
Yeah. So I know you want to get back to ESO, so I'll ask you one final hard-hitting question.
All right.
Next expansion. Where do you think we're going? And do you think Blizzard can deliver on their promise of fewer systems?
I mean, in an ideal world, right? They do.
Yeah.
And everything's amazing and it's the best expansion they've ever made and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
I don't like the thing is like with where we're going, I have no idea. Like that's the thing. Like in BFA, you couldn't have predicted Shadowlands, you know?
No.
That's the I think it's I think to kind of figure it out, you need to look at like the cosmology chart and look at what's not been done, what can be done, what makes sense to be done. You know, are we going to go into, you know, the Emerald Dream or something? Or, I don't know, there's loads. But, I don't know. I'm sure you have a big old theory on it, right?
So, I have a couple. My first theory is that we might go to the Drustlands. We might go to Thros. Just because the Drust was introduced in such a way that they sort of make sense to be an Ardenweald, but they also don't. Like, Ardenweald could have worked without the Drust there.
Yeah.
You know? Because Ardenweald had its own problems, and the Drust was a very small portion of the Ardenweald problem. And Thros would be fucking amazing to go to. But I don't think Thros would be a standalone place, because I think...
we go there in like a cutscene or something like that?
I mean, I would love to see Thros. Just in a cutscene even, I would love it. But I think Thros is inside the Emerald Nightmare. I think the Rift of Arm, which Malfurion saw and then just sort of went, fuck this, close it immediately. I think that's where Thros is in the Rift of Arm. So I think we're going to get an expansion at some point that dives into the Emerald Dream, and Thros is going to be a part of that. Either a zone in there or, you know, an end game leveling area or whatever. But I think that's what the next expansion may as well be, considering we just dealt with death and life is an extremely big part of it. And I just see Alpaca's in my chat saying that Malfurion is dead, which is also possible. But yeah, I think next expansion may as well be the Emerald Dream. Not that I think that's the best place to be, but I think that's the next expansion is the Emerald Dream.
It's been a long time coming.
I mean, I would like it.
Yeah, I mean, we dipped in it obviously a little bit in Legion in the Emerald Nightmare, but yeah, doing like a whole thing. I mean, the zone has been in the game since vanilla, like the actual like kind of test zone that they made for the Emerald Dream.
Yep, the perfect Azeroth that they've, you know, that was actually cool, knowing that they kept this sort of pristine version of Azeroth. Just as a, you know, why not? So yeah, I think that's the next place we're gonna go.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, especially after fucking Shadowlands.
Well, hopefully the systems aren't shit when we get there.
I personally think they have to just go back to basics. Just
Yeah, I think they need to look at what worked in previous expansions and do that. Not do that exactly, but like look at it and go, right, this is what they like, this is what they don't like. You know, it's very well documented.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could literally type in YouTube Legion and you will find every content creator's thoughts on Legion. It wouldn't be hard to figure out, right? What people thought and what people wanted. Of course, they will have problems finding sort of the feedback for BFA since they deleted the beta forums in BFA. But maybe they deleted it and saved it on like a separate area that they could still look at.
It'll be somewhere. Yeah, I'm sure. Love that.
I hope that they go back to the absolute basics and start designing permanent systems or evergreen systems. If they're going to put a system into the game, make it evergreen. I was talking to my chat yesterday. Can you imagine if artifact weapons were an evergreen system in WoW? So
I tweeted it a couple days ago. Was it last week? Week 4? I think it'd be sick.
I think it would have been amazing. Imagine if every new expansion, your artifact weapon grows. Like you just get to pick new talents and new golden traits, and because everyone sort of complained, well, what about weapon drops? Well, you don't need weapon drops. You can just get cosmetic drops, skin drops.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That changes your weapon. Good game.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to, isn't it? It's just appearances.
Yeah.
So they still make all their appearances and stuff. Just make it drop as a cosmetic item because that's something that exists now. So it's not exactly difficult.
Yeah.
Just make it a drop alongside actual gear though. Don't make it so you just get the shit fucking cosmetic weapon. You're like, oh great.
Yeah, you don't have the final boss and all the final boss drops is just cosmetics for everyone's weapon. You know, you should have it varied. But I think that would have been brilliant because the artifact weapon is the last time Blizzard did a good system. I think
it had its problems at the beginning.
Oh yeah, people, you sort of alluded to this at the beginning of this of the chat. People really looked at Legion and did not realize that Legion was not a good expansion for the first year almost.
No, it was awful. It wasn't awful, but it was not great.
I can't remember which warrior spec this was. I know which warlock spec completely didn't work, but I think it was Arms Warrior at the beginning that was almost unplayable. Like its artifact weapon just didn't make any sense. Like the things that you got for it was just like...
Yeah, I think I played Fury most of the expansion. And then I think I did Arms at the end when it came down to the Mage Tower stuff.
Yeah, and Arms eventually turned... Like, they literally... This was the funniest thing for me with Legion. They said that they wanted to take Arms back to that strategic gameplay, what made Arms so fun for a lot of people. And then it turned into the fastest spec in the game. No strategy, just fucking hit the buttons as quickly as you possibly can because there's just buttons the whole time to press. I think it's buttons per minute was off the charts. It was like insane what Arms turned into eventually, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, hopefully...
It's in a good spot now, though.
I haven't played Warrior in a very long time. I haven't logged.
I actually moved to Hunter in 9.1, which has been super fun. But yeah.
Wow. So you actually you stopped playing Warrior?
I mean, I got the Warrior. Like I still got him. I just haven't really played him in 9.1 because there was a legendary bow, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna need that, I think. So yeah.
Well, I remember the days where Warriors could actually have bows.
Oh yeah, good times.
I miss that flavor, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, like playing Hunter and BC's been fun, right? Because I get a melee weapon and a ranged weapon. I love it.
Yep. Anyways, I'm gonna let you go because I can see you're just standing in one building.
Yeah, I've been itching to do this quest. And I sorted out my UI, so it's all good.
No problem. MrGM, it was crazy fun chatting to you.
Yeah.
We should do it one night with the Shill show on a Sunday night. if you have Sunday nights off and you're not out,
I can find time. I'm
traveling the world, or at least wherever you live in the UK. Fuck, I miss UK pubs. If there's one thing I miss about the UK, it's your pubs.
I know. I'm quarantined at the moment. I can't even go. I'm stuck in the house.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that sucks. Thank you so much for hanging out, dude. Enjoy ESO.
Hell yeah.
Peace, bro.
Have a fantastic day, dude. Take care.
Same to you.
All right. See you later.
Bye. Sup, chat? How's everyone doing? Yeah, you guys should absolutely go follow MrGM if you're not already. Lady Survival, how you doing? CCS, how you doing? Matt and Yak, how you doing? Let me just quickly do Friday. All right, there we go. Just want to change the title because I never fucking do the title changes. Periscopic, how you doing? Mr. Texas, how you doing? ETX, how you doing? Adelia, Doomhammer, how you doing? First time chat, thank you so much. Medellin, how you doing? We exist again. You guys exist again. I'm very happy to have all of you here. Thank you so much to everyone that is following. I'm assuming that is from the MrGM crowd. Really happy to have all of you here. Alcove, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the Fat Fuckers Club. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much to everyone that is following. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys had fun, though. I do apologize that I sort of ignore chat. I do read your chat messages. I just don't respond to them for obvious reasons. I'm having a conversation with MrGM, and it would be very rude for me to go, excuse me, MrGM, just quiet for a minute. I just need to talk to my chat here. That would be rude, right? Please do more of this. We solved the riddle of the first one's videos. It was really awesome. Doomhammer, I can only do it whenever I solve a riddle, right? But I will try to do more of them. Yeah, I had fun. I truly had a lot of fun. I've always enjoyed MrGM. I love his personality. I love his sense of humor. So it was a lot of fun hanging out with him. Dilipos, how you doing, brother? Nursing a massive hangover while at work. Kind of overdid it with the bourbon. Why, though? When you know you have work the next day, why the fuck do you go out drinking? Be worth it? IW, how you doing, bro? You guys know I love you. You know I fucking love you. But I kind of have to give preference to the guest that I have on the stream. 40 times till now. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you very much for padding the fucking numbers. So whether Iluna's death or life aligned, what do you think the life pantheon looks like, whether or not she's a part of it? So Shay, I actually think the life pantheon doesn't refer to the life pantheon, but rather the pantheon in life. And I sort of think that it's the pantheon that we already know about. Alcov, you know I don't like ignoring chat. One of the reasons I stream, as most of you know, is for chat. It's also one of the reasons I don't actually play video games on my stream. Even though I've been itching to play Final Fantasy on stream, I don't because, you know, I'd rather hang out and chat. Now, that doesn't mean, I just want to say though, even though I think that the pantheon that is the opposite to the death pantheon is the pantheon that we already know about, I do believe that there may be a pantheon of life as well. I just think that that pantheon isn't important to the overall structure of the universe, so to speak. Don't think you should feel too self-conscious about streaming games. See, they're not about feeling self-conscious. It's more a case of I don't stream to play video games. It's sort of what do you get out of doing things, you know? For some people, they love playing video games and they play video games while they stream. For me, playing video games while I stream, it's sort of, I don't know, it takes away from the experience of it. For a number of reasons, right? And I don't want to mention these things to sort of put chat on the defensive or to make you guys feel like you should do stuff that you don't want to do. But one of the things that I notice whenever it comes to gaming streams, so if I play games, chat will go completely silent. The reason for it is most people then go on doing their own thing whilst they have me on in the background, sort of playing the game, and they're sort of keeping an eye on it. But considering the fact that when I stream, I like chatting, so I want to talk to chat, that makes it very weird, because I look over every 5 seconds and like, no new messages, no new messages, no new messages. What the fuck's going on? Too hard about the inactivity of Final Fantasy XIV gameplay? What inactivity? There's no inactivity. No in topics to discuss. Many one. The problem is that it's not always as easy because you're focusing on the game as well. I do, however, want to try Final Fantasy with no echo and stuff. I think that would be so much fun. To do the raids, no echo, no nothing. You know, that's fine. I think that's true for a lot of people. But gaming streams just sort of... the chat dies. Fuck, I don't know. My voice just broke. And don't get me wrong, I'm not judging. I do the same. When I'm watching a streamer that's playing games, I put it on full screen and I just watch them play. I'm not fucking like, I don't want to chat then. I want to watch them play the game. That's why I'm there, to watch them play the game. So for example, I never chat in Asmongold stream. I never chat in Summit 1G stream. I never chat in what's his name? Oh my fuck. Just completely blank now. I watch him fucking all the time as well. The first person god, what's his name? I think it's an S. Something with an S. Quick, chat, help me out here. Shroud, thank you. I never talk in Shroud's chat either. I'm just there to watch. So I literally just turn on the stream, put it on like full screen, and then I just fucking hang out. Soda Poppin' I don't watch that often, but only because he doesn't stream when I'm awake. So Soda Poppin's stream hours is very weird. So I don't watch Soda Poppin' as often. Luna's the first one? I don't see how. I don't think Luna's the first one. It's the same reason why I don't think Azeroth is the first one. It doesn't make sense in the story. In a weird spot between light, void, and now death, it feels like he's going to be the center of a huge conflict. I agree with that. And it could be such a cool story if Blizzard actually doubles down on it. I talk occasionally in any stream. Reach and Asmon's chat are impossible to follow. I only chat in Preach's stream during drama time. Blizz does not know who the first ones is now. Nothing else does. Shima, what do you mean? Nothing else what? So, it's just different, right? It's different strokes for different folks. Some people absolutely love playing video games while they stream. I prefer not to. Maybe, let's see, if this stream ever gets to like 5,000 or 10,000 viewers, maybe at that point it becomes less viable to actually do just chatting streams, because chat moves too fucking fast and you can barely see what people are saying. So then gaming streams become far more likely. But as long as I can read chat and I can actually see what chat is saying and I can have a conversation with chat, I'm going to do just chatting streams instead. With the odd game once in a while. So you guys can bet your ass when Diablo 2 comes out, I will be playing that, not the beta. When the actual fucking game comes out, I will be playing Diablo 2. Why? It's Diablo 2. Why wouldn't you play Diablo 2? And then, of course, when Baldur's Gate finally releases, I will definitely be playing that. Lady Survival, did you ever play Diablo 3? Assume you need, for whatever reason, to get through something that is not all that good. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. That is the one thing that I will not put myself through. If I am going to play a game and I don't like the fucking game, I don't care what stream thinks. Like, stream can go, bro, we love you. Play this game more. And I will be like, no. I don't like this game. I'm stopping it right now. Okay, so Lady Survival, did you like Diablo 3? Maybe just say, yes, I beat Diablo 3. Don't say twice, because twice is in terms of Diablo 3 things, twice is like pleb. It's like pleb level. If you've only beat Diablo 3 twice, that's like 100% pleb level. Don't say twice. Just say I beat Diablo 3. Or say yes, I played it. But don't put a number on it, because if you want to go hardcore, I played Diablo 3 like fuck me. I played for the first 12 seasons every single season. So I loved it, but then I realized the seasons are basically the same thing every single time, so fuck that shit. It's now a great weekend. Natural B, thank you for trying out. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourself, bro. Enjoyed streaming games. Didn't find it too difficult to keep chat active, but that was mostly because I was playing OP specs in PvP and flaming literally everyone that came near me. I played D3 more times. So if you liked, more times than I care to admit, if you liked D3, Lady Survival, you will absolutely love D2. I know what you meant, Lady Survival, but I was giving you shit. Which you should expect here. But no, if you like D3, you will love D2. D2 is better than D3 in every single way. Atropat, how you doing? D2 is darker. D2 also just gives you... It gives you such a great feeling while you're playing it. The story, to me, was better than D3's story, since D3 was basically designed for endgame. Like, they just wanted you to get to the endgame. Whereas in D2, the game was actually designed for the experience of getting to endgame. So that was a lot of fun. It wasn't nearly as spammy as you would get in D3. Yeah, I'm just a huge fan of the D2 playstyle. There is a Yoshi fan squad channel on Discord for those playing Final Fantasy XIV to share your data cluster and region. I am on Goblin, for those of you that do want to join me. And I am still actively thinking about doing proper... Like, I want to do the raids on extreme difficulty. So if you are in NA, if you're playing on the NA server... I would love to try the raids at some point on extreme difficulty, no echo, minimum item level, to see what it's all about. Because I think the raiding in Final Fantasy is absolutely next level. Crazy Gamer, similar but not quite. I mean, it's an ARPG, right? So it plays like an ARPG. So I would say you wouldn't find too many differences between the two. Yeah, the Cross Realms is going to be absolutely fucking amazing. Unforgive one, but we'll do a raid, and I don't care if you're not good. I'm not going to scream at people that fail. I just want to try the raids at the hardest difficulty and see how difficult is it really. Isn't bad. D2 inventory is the best Tetris game ever. Oh my god, if you want to talk about bad inventory, go play Diablo 1. I remember in Diablo 1, when I fought Diablo, so every single time I fought Diablo, I put up a town portal. Right, so you have the town portal, and then right outside the town portal, on the side of the town, I had mana potions, health potions, and I think it was speed potions, something else. They just littered on the ground there because the boss didn't reset health. So I'd fight him a little until all of my potions were done, and then I'd go back to town, grab a bunch of new fucking potions, and then go back in, and then just fight until my potions are done. Then town portal out, grab a bunch of new potions, get back in there, fight. And I did that probably 30 times in my fight against Diablo, trying to get that bastard down. I saw, FC with an FC house now. So you have a free company. When I play again, I'll get you in. If you accept shit players, I'll do extreme fights with you in Final Fantasy 14. Even if my OCA ping is scuffed. I don't care what level of player you are. So the class that I finished D2 with originally, and my favorite, Necromancer. Of course, Necromancer. I always play the dark classes. Doesn't matter what game it is, I always play the dark classes. No, I'm definitely going to go Necro. I can also set up a cross-world link shell for you, for anyone in chat on the data center to join if you want me to. A cross-world what? Link shell. Oh, so people can actually talk to each other in the game. Ben Raging, what world server is that on? I'm on Goblin. Goblin NA. So I started my character in Goblin NA because everyone told me that that's like where I should start because a lot of people were playing there. And then I started my character and I realized I'm not playing with anyone anyway, so I may as well just fucking start it wherever. But I started in Goblin, so that's where I am now. I was Demon Hunter. I love dual wielding crossbows. Yeah, I'm probably gonna, like, as soon as the cross realm stuff comes in, I'll probably move my character to EU. Just so I can play with better ping. Because the ping is a bit of a bitch in Final Fantasy. Streamer fan, thank you for the follow, really appreciate that. So, how many of you are watching the LEC tonight? Is there anyone here that's League of Legends fans that watches League of Legends as an esport? Oh, you guys, the people that saying not me, you have no idea what you're missing. You have no fucking idea what you're missing. Not the esport. Tonight is playoffs, motherfuckers. It's playoffs. And it's my team, Misfits, against Rogue, the #1 team in the league at the moment. My team is playing them in the quarterfinals. If we win, if Misfits wins tonight, we go to Worlds, baby. We fucking go to Worlds. I fucking need Misfits to win tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I need Misfits to win. Fuck. Wish all hunters in game could deal with crossbows. I haven't before, but I guess I'll give it a shot with when it airs. So I don't know when it starts. Hold up, let me check. You are in that team, Akko? No, I'm not in that team. It's just my team. So problem solved for me. Wait, FPS? League of Legends is an FPS. So when is it starting? So the pre-show starts in 22 minutes. The pre-show starts in 22 minutes. No. Fuck that. I don't watch FPS games. I purely... This is my sport. This is what I do on a weekend. I watch the League of Legends esports. And oh my god, am I excited for this. I am so excited for tonight. No. Only thing I do in League of Legends is bot games. So I love doing bot games in League of Legends. I sort of focus on trying to get my farming as high as humanly possible. That's all I do in League of Legends. I try to see at 10 minutes how much farm can I actually get. And that's it. Like, if I get to 10 minutes and I see how much farm I got, I quit the game. I just want to get as much farm as humanly possible, and then I'm done. I don't want to play against other players. They make the game less fun for me. I tried to get excited for Worlds, but I live in NA, so really, what's the point? Oh, Fozzie Nozzy. Yes, sadly, if you're an NA pleb, your team just never wins. That's just truth, right? NA just sucks in League of Legends at the minute, and I don't know how they're gonna fix it. Other players on top of farming, which is more. So you're playing the HOTS version of LoL, pretty much. I just like doing it. Against bots though, there's no pressure. But I don't want pressure because I do it when I'm relaxing. So I do it purely when I'm out relaxing. I don't want pressure. I don't want to sit there and fucking stress about playing against other players. Sometimes, and this is when I'm feeling particularly interested in a bit of a challenge, I'll do some ARAM. This is wind down time? Exactly. I usually play League of Legends at like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, just before I go to bed.
I just thought of a weird thing. We know that the Archon was one of them that bound the jailer to the Maw. This means that she has no problem acting against the Arbiter if the Arbiter is not doing things she thinks is correct, right? But after the replacement Arbiter was hit by the red thing and was no longer judging things, why does the Archon just suddenly has a problem to make decisions for the Arbiter? Why not just make their own decisions when the Arbiter went dormant?
I think that's one of the flaws sort of highlighted by the game. I think that's one of the flaws that Zuval spotted. It is the fact that these Eternal Ones do not think for themselves. Right? The Eternal Ones only do what is considered necessary to safeguard souls. Outside of that, the Eternal Ones could not give two fucks. They just don't do anything. And it's actually stated by one of the brokers in Ouroboros that there's no point in even trying to explain to the Eternal Ones that stuff is going wrong, because all they care about is souls. They don't give a fuck about anything else. They just want the souls. And now that the Arbiter is down, just make do until someone else fixes the problem. So effectively, they're just morons, I would say, Zigzags. So I tend to root for whoever the last rated NA team is to make it. That way, not disappointing, and every win is great. The problem that I have, and this is genuinely something that I don't know, I don't understand why, but so some of our good players from EU leave to NA and then become shit in NA. So what exactly is going on in NA? Why is it that the great players in EU go to NA and then become utter dog shit? Like Perks, for example. I'm not saying Perks is bad, but it's like Perks feels almost a shadow of his former self. And I wonder if it doesn't have something to do with... no, I actually think it has something to do with the coaches. Me should be getting caught up on 9.1 instead playing a random alt on Classic. Sounds about right. For fun region, makes people brain dead in comparison. I think it has to do with your coaching staff. I think the coaching staff in NA have this weird sort of view on how the game should be played, and it just kills creativity. It makes players just not capable of being creative. I also think that there's not nearly enough money being spent in NA on player development. Like, your young players are almost non-existent, and it's like, why? In EU, the teams spend so much money, like so much fucking money on like young players.
You look like you've lost some weight. That's terrible. Have a tumbler.
But I don't think that makes sense. If they really don't care, why do they have to fight the jailer now? But one of the key things to defeat the jailer is to stop sending souls to the jailer. I think it is one of two situations. Possibility 1, the storytelling team failed to see this story bug. Possibility 2, The Archon is not just a moron, she is incredibly dumb and has intelligence level similar to a cat or dog.
I don't think stopping the jailer has anything to fucking do with I don't think stopping the jailer has anything to do with keeping the souls away from him. Like, this is genuinely the one thing that I disagree with. Based on what we see with the law right now, it does not appear as if the jailer really requires souls in order to gain power. The other Eternal ones do. The jailer seems to be the one person that could not give two fucks about souls. Because the lack of souls that he received throughout his time in the Maw didn't seem to weaken him. He didn't seem, in fact, he seemed to become stronger throughout his time in the Maw. He learned how to basically control domination magic whilst being weakened by the Maw. So I don't think he feeds off of anima at all. In fact, you can see it. What does the jailer use anima for? Like, he only uses it to make armies. That's it. He just uses it for soldiers. He doesn't seem to siphon it for himself. He doesn't seem to use it for himself. He uses it to create weapons, to turn souls into weapons. That's it. So I think he's different to the other Eternal ones, where the other Eternal ones uses the anima to actually gain power. Zuval doesn't need anima for power. Specifically because it's his anima that was used to make the Arbiter in the first place. Leia Jinx, I don't know anymore. Like, I used to think that Sylvanas had some master plan. I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't think Sylvanas has a master plan anymore. I think Sylvanas was truly just outplayed for whatever reason. Doesn't really matter how you think of it. I do believe that the Sylvanas was outplayed. She thought that she could control the jailer. She thought that she could get one up on the jailer. And yeah, that did not happen. Right? The jailer basically got her. And it sort of makes sense to me that he did. I'm not unhappy about the fact that the jailer got the upper hand there. I do think that Anduin played a big part in her ultimate decision to not fucking try and change, not try and keep going, right? I think Anduin played a big part in that, but I don't know if she's going to be the one that saves us. That would be weird fucking storytelling. Because at first you have her now basically not important anymore, and then suddenly you're gonna make her important because she's now gonna be what are you doing? At that point you're just going up and fucking down, right? You're just literally going up and down. You're going from Sylvanas did this wrong, this was a bad idea, to no, actually Sylvanas did none of this wrong, she is actually now saving us, to back to she did all of this to fuck us, back to no, she's actually just saving us. It becomes a very weird story. So I personally would prefer it if Blizzard didn't try to make her the savior of this universe. Like, no, stick to Sylvanas being played, stick to Sylvanas doing the wrong thing, and let that storyline die. Because I think Blizzard handled the storyline of Sylvanas incredibly badly. I think they made a massive mistake with the Sylvanas storyline. They need to reset that shit. Blasphemous. The problem is the genocide still counts. For a lot of people, the genocide still counts, and that sort of makes sense. Blizzard genuinely used the worst possible thing ever. Because genocide is a very strong fucking word. It's a very strong concept. You are not going to ever convince people that the genocide should just be forgiven and people should just sort of move on. Not without a lot of people having to suspend disbelief in order to get that through. So the genocide still counts. And it doesn't matter how many times you try and make the point that genocide is on both sides and it doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is, it happened. It happened. And you're going to have a very hard fucking time explaining how it happened. Her eyes being blue instead of red, though, is a rather interesting thing. And that's sort of been an interesting thing for me for a long time. It's been an interesting thing for a long time because the normal Forsaken, if I remember correctly, I haven't played WoW in a while, so I can't really remember, but it's usually yellow eyes. I'm just being flippant. Giving Sylvanas a redemption arc is the dumbest thing ever. I hate redemption arcs because redemption arcs are so fucking stupid. Redemption arcs are so fucking stupid. Give her something. If she had the feel of pain that caused all of the Calderai for the rest of eternity, that would be good. I mean, she is probably already experiencing that. Would have had happened anyways, or only because of Sylvanas, who knew what to do. Perhaps if Arthas would have survived as Lich King, would he done the same thing? I have no idea. Golden blue eyes for elves, blue eyes for high elves, because Magic Fountain. No, we're talking about undead. I'm not talking about elves or high elves. I'm talking about the undead, the Forsaken. They usually have yellow eyes, not red. And so her eyes being red is already something of an interesting sort of phenomena, I think. The fact that she has that, and Nathanos too. So there's definitely something interesting there. I don't know what it is, but there is something interesting about that. Like, maybe there is something interesting there. Her blue eyes, though, I do not think means that she is alive now. I would be very surprised if Sylvanas is now alive. Like, holy fuck. So he restores her soul and suddenly she comes back to life. That'd be so weird. Oh, we're not going to see her anytime soon. I think it just means that they have put the two pieces of her soul. I think she's still Forsaken. I think she's still undead. I just think she's now complete. She now has her soul back. That's at least my headcanon. Pringle, you think so? Doesn't matter what Blizzard wants to do. Blizzard may want to forgive her. The problem that Blizzard is going to run into, and this is going to be a problem along every step of the way for this expansion, doesn't matter what Blizzard wants to do. It matters whether or not the players will be willing to actually do it. Right? Will the players buy into it? That's what matters. Let me just see something my brother is asking me. I genuinely think they'll make her alive again. Goddamn, it's Joe. He is streaming. No, he wants to know if I have cash on me, which I do. So you mean, even if Arthur's with Frostborn stabbing Sylvanas, and if the soul wouldn't have split, she would have remained undead just with blue eyes? Wait, Digit, I don't understand your point. Like, her being stabbed by Frostborn is what turned her into Forsaken. A Oceanic Alliance. I don't know anyone that doesn't want her dead. There's no redemption for genocide. LAC, I know a lot of people that don't want her dead. So the problem is that it's really split at this point. There's some people that want her dead. There's some people that don't. And based on my own sort of experimentation and sort of asking questions, it's very 50-50. It's very 50-50. People that want her dead versus people who don't. And then there's also a group of people that basically don't care as long as she's no longer part of the story, or at least not a big part of the story. They couldn't care less. So it really, it fluctuates quite heavily. But I would say that Blizzard will have to come up with an incredible fucking storyline to even try to ram that down people's throats. And it's their own fault. Blizzard can blame no one else but themselves. They kept going for the rule of cool. They kept trying to push these really cool fucking storylines for Sylvanas without ever asking themselves, hey, what is it exactly that we want Sylvanas to be after all this cool shit? Because I think that's sort of important, right? If you want this character to remain a character in World of Warcraft, and you want this character to eventually have some kind of redemption, then maybe genocide isn't supposed to be on the fucking list of things you do. You know? Maybe that's a step too far. Maybe you make her kill Malfurion, or you make her kill, you know, whoever. But you don't make her destroy an entire civilization almost. Maybe that's the difference. That's what you sort of, you know, calm down. We don't need that level of cool. We can do something else. Because in the fight between Sylvanas and Malfurion, if the worst thing Sylvanas did at the Battle for Azeroth is kill Malfurion, I think most people would have been like, yeah, all right, you know, it's sad for the Night Elves that's now lost Malfurion, but it's not the end of the road, right? This happens all the time. People die. He did fight her, and he lost in a deal between Sylvanas and Malfurion. But she went on from that and basically fucking wiped out an entire colony. I don't know how you save that. I don't know how you explain that. Do I personally mind that? Not really, because it is in the game and it is war. But I can see why a lot of people would look at that and go, fuck that. Valsmog, it's possible. Redemption is going to be very hard. They're going to have to figure out how in the fuck do they... Because they're first going to have to set it up in such a way that players will become sympathetic with her. And for that to happen, they're going to have an amazing explanation for what she went through. In order to get some kind of sympathy drummed up. And then the sympathy has to also be done in such a way that people don't feel pity for her. Because pity, again, is not going to let people forgive. It needs to be genuine, heartfelt sorrow that people feel, right? And then maybe you can try telling a redemption story. I don't fucking know how you do that, right? Outside of maybe a 25-minute cinematic that shows the inner workings of Sylvanas whilst she was only half a soul or even no soul. I can remember how you said it was cringy that Derek and I call each other husband and wife a lot. How does it make you feel knowing I'm drinking out of a mug that says wifey on it? Cringy as fuck. Lady Survival. Very cringy. I mean, it is cringe. I'm not saying it's wrong. When you're in love, you're allowed to be cringe. But I mean, that is just mushy bullshit on the next level. 100%. I don't even know how such a mug gets bought, to be fair. I think if I was married and my wife came in with a mug that she bought that said wifey on it, I would start to have my doubts. I would probably start looking at it and saying, yeah, I think we should start seeing other people. Well, I made by splitting her into 2 souls, but it wouldn't have split into 2 different souls, but only one with the blue eyes instead of the red amber-eyed version. And now she had received her original soul that was originally taken by the Frostmourne that contained the blue eyes. Sounds better now? Yes, that makes more sense. Sent her children to her sister, Saint not allow. Elune behind the axe of the tree? No, I don't think Elune is behind the axe of the tree because Elune does state that in the wake of tragedy. In other words, it was a tragedy, but she used the tragedy to feed the souls to the Shadowlands. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, my League of Legends is about to start and I still have to go to the shops. So if you will excuse me, this is playoff weekend. I need to go see if my team can fucking make it. Right? This is fucking... It's a whole weekend of League of Legends. This is heaven. This is what you call heaven. At least for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate each and one of you for hanging out with me, for spending time with me. I really appreciate you all. I will be back on Sunday during the Shill show. For those of you that want to hang out, want to join me there, you know where to find me on YouTube. I'm sure most of you are on YouTube anyways. So we'll be back for the Shill show on Sunday. And I will, as always, see those of you that don't make it to the Shill show over on Twitch next Tuesday. So, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Have a great fucking weekend. And I will see all of you in the next one. Peace out, fam.